Chapter 944. Pingon, how did you get here? Xian Gorge. The entire gorge extended for hundreds of miles, flanked by vast and lofty mountain ranges. Due to the presence of the Purple Shadow secret realm, there were almost no traces of demon beasts along this section of the gorge. Even if a few demon beasts occasionally appeared, they would be hunted by passing cultivators and nearby family forces. On this journey, what one truly needed to be cautious of was other cultivators. Because the Purple Shadow secret realm opened once every 30 years, it was common knowledge. Many chose not to venture into the secret realm but instead turned into robber cultivators, lying in wait to ambush and kill here. At this moment, Lu Changxing was steering a spirit boat, taking Lu Chuanjin into Ziyun Gorge. He wore luxurious dark robes, standing tall and straight on the spirit boat with his hands clasped behind his back, exuding an aura of profound stability and confidence, emitting a faint foundation establishment spiritual pressure. Facing such a spiritual pressure, naturally, no robber cultivator dared to act recklessly. After all, most robber cultivators were merely energy refining cultivators. They would only target seemingly easy-to-bully loose cultivators. This made Lu Changxing muse whether there might be foundation establishment cultivators intentionally disguising themselves, coming here to fish for law enforcement. After all, the cultivation world never lacked such idle people. Moreover, instead of robbing poor loose cultivators, it was better to rob robber cultivators. Soon after, Lu Changxing drove the spirit boat through the gorge and arrived at the end. Ahead was a vast expanse of yellow soil slope. At the center of the slope seemed to be a large purple altar. Scattered around the altar were numerous cultivators, numbering in the hundreds. It was quite bustling. 99% of these cultivators were energy refining cultivators. However, most of them possessed the cultivation level of the energy refinement late stage. Most foundation establishment cultivators like Lu Changxing were sending family juniors or descendants. However, they mostly had 3 or 4 or even 7 or 8 energy refining cultivators by their side. Like Lu Changxing, who only brought one person, was rather rare. Seeing Lu Changxing's spirit boat slowly descend, a few nearby energy refining cultivators immediately showed a respectful demeanor and moved aside to make room, to avoid offending Lu Changxing or being deemed displeasing by him. After all, the moods of foundation establishment cultivators were unpredictable. If one was in a bad mood and found them bothersome, attacking them would leave them nowhere even to cry. This Purple Shadow secret realm really is lively. Lu Changxing put away the spirit boat and looked at the scene, clicking his tongue. Although he had visited Jiuxiao Immortal City and Azure Phoenix Immortal City, he had never seen such a gathering of hundreds of cultivators ready for action like in the Purple Shadow secret realm. At this time he spotted people from Qingzhou Mountain and Hundred Birds Lake in the crowd. Qingzhou Mountain was led by someone he knew, Lu Miaofeng. In total, there were 4 people, besides Lu Miaofeng, who was at 9th level energy refinement. The other 3 were only at 8th and 7th level energy refinement. Lu Changxing did not go up to greet them. He came here incognito this trip and had disguised himself along with Lu Chuanjin. After all, concealing one's identity made things more convenient, as showing one's true appearance easily invited trouble. Not just him, many cultivators present had disguised themselves. Chuanjin, if you wish, you could later join Miaofeng and the others. Lu Changxing transmitted a message to his son Lu Chuanjin at his side. He had previously learned about the Purple Shadow secret realm from Qingzhou Mountain. Everyone entering it would appear randomly within the realm. But they could meet up immediately using transmission talismans, yin-yang sensing talismans, and other such items. Thus, at this moment, one could see many loose cultivators and family juniors recognizing each other and forming groups. After all, besides seeking opportunities, the Purple Shadow secret realm also served as a trial site for the disciples of immortal sects. Disciples of immortal sects may not be bloodthirsty. But who could say in such situations one must prepare for the worst? MHM. Lu Chuanjin, dressed in black robes with a scholar-like demeanor, nodded in agreement. The 2 of them rested on the spot, waiting for the 4 great immortal sects to open the secret realm. As time passed, more and more foundation establishment cultivators with their disciples and successors arrived. At that time, Lu Changxing saw an elderly man with a majestic appearance stepping down from a golden spirit boat with 6 energy refining cultivators. Golden Dragon Ridge. Lu Changxing's eyes narrowed slightly as he saw the newcomers. He then said to his son beside him, Chuanjin, if you encounter people from Golden Dragon Ridge in the Purple Shadow secret realm, join up with Qingshan and slaughter them all. Despite the Jin family patriarch coming forward to apologize and make amends, it was purely to save face. Moreover, they had been suppressing the business interests of White Tiger Mountain openly and secretly over the past year. Faced with this situation, he could not do much directly, but with such an opportunity, naturally, he would not be polite. Of course, the main reason was his confidence in his son's abilities. Even if Lu Qingshan was not there, Lu Changxing was quite reassured about Lu Quanzhen's situation. Second-rank puppet, a full set of top-tier magical artifacts, talisman treasure bronze gu, a pile of second-rank talismans. In such a situation, how could a few energy-refining cultivators be his match? Even foundation establishment cultivators would get a headache encountering Lu Chuanzhen. Lu Chuanzhen was somewhat surprised by his father's words, but he merely smiled and squinted his eyes, glanced at the people from Golden Dragon Ridge and responded softly, "Father, rest assured." Time passed bit by bit. As more and more people gathered, Lu Changxing learned that many Family Forces Foundation establishment cultivators came to buy resources, heavenly and earthly treasures. After loose cultivators exited the secret realm, they would conduct transactions. Because the four great immortal sects only collected some rare resources. The remaining resources, which most loose cultivators didn't need, were directly traded here. Or they would use resources to hire someone to escort them to the marketplace. CTH Fire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Never thought this Purple Shadow secret realm would have so many ins and outs. Lu Changxing clicked his tongue in realization, now understanding why many family forces openly came. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 945. Pingon, how did you come here? Because the family had a good reputation, people were willing to trust them even if their purchase prices were cheaper by a few percentages. However, he was now disguised, which made it inappropriate to engage in purchasing activities. Huh? Just then, Lu Changxing suddenly opened his eyes as if he sensed something. He saw a tall, burly, dust-covered man looking like a wanderer of the rivers and lakes who had found a spot to sit down in the distance. Lu Changxing instantly sensed a familiar aura from the person. Pingon? Lu Changxing swept his divine sense and immediately saw through the disguise. Isn't Pingon supposed to be traveling? Why has he come to the Purple Shadow secret realm? A trace of surprise appeared in his eyes as he transmitted his voice. Lu Pingon, come here. Ah. Lu Pingon, upon hearing this, was startled and looked around in confusion. He didn't return home this trip, knowing that if his father knew he was aiming for the Purple Shadow secret realm, he would likely disagree. So he decided on his own to come here secretly. Unexpectedly, he had just arrived at Ziyun Gorge when he heard his father's voice. He looked around but did not see his father, Lu Changxing. Moments later, he saw a man in his 30s with a dignified appearance and a profound aura, wearing a dark robe, walking toward him accompanied by a scholarly young man in a black robe. You are father? Lu Pingon asked, somewhat unsure. The man in the dark robe looked nothing like his father as he usually appeared. Indeed. Lu Changxing answered, nodding slightly. His current disguise tactic wasn't as simple as his early years' disguises. Not only was he using a fate-defying robe to mask and contain his aura, but he also wore a specialized disguise mask. Unless a nascent soul immortal used divine sense to investigate, it would be hard to discern his real face. Lu Chuanzhen was also disguising his appearance and aura. Pingon, why are you here? Lu Changxing brought his son to the side and asked. I heard that the Purple Shadow secret realm was opening, so I thought I'd come to check it out. Maybe I could find something? Lu Pingon scratched his head, looking somewhat sheepish. As if worried his father might misunderstand, he hastily explained, Father, I'm not overestimating myself. I had some fortuitous encounters before, and I've reached the 5th level of the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art, so I dared to come here. 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art's 5th level? Lu Chuanzhen next to him narrowed his eyes in surprise. In his younger years, Lu Changxing had taught him the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art. However, he didn't excel in it and eventually abandoned this cultivation technique. Unexpectedly, his elder brother had advanced this technique to the 5th level, which meant his physical body was comparable to a spiritual artifact. Since you are already here, would I blame you? Lu Changxing said to his son, sounding a bit irritable. Thank you, father. Lu Pingon immediately relaxed and nodded. It was usually fine dealing with Lu Changxing. But in his current disguised form, with an inherent authority that commanded respect, it genuinely made him nervous. Father, why are you here? Lu Pingon continued, looking at Lu Chuanzhen, eager to know who this was. See the Oval Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. I came to bring Chuanjin here. Lu Changxing answered. Big brother. Lu Chuanjin called out with a smile, his demeanor gentle and scholarly. You're Chuanjin? Lu Pingan looked at Lu Chuanjin, surprised. Then he said, Father, isn't the Purple Shadow secret realm quite dangerous? Chuanjin coming here, he did not know much about Lu Quanzhen's situation. Only that this younger brother's cultivation level wouldn't be much higher than his own. Chuanjin too has had some opportunities. He is now at the 9th level of energy refinement. When you both enter the secret realm, you can contact each other through your identity jades and look after each other. Lu Changxing instructed. Energy refinement 9th level. Lu Pingan looked surprised, not expecting his younger brother to have reached the 9th level of energy refinement. However, considering he himself had encounters, it was quite normal for his siblings to have some fortuitous adventures. Rest assured, Father. You have any preparations for entering the secret realm? Lu Changxing asked. Oh, I did inquire about the Purple Shadow secret realm and learn some information about it. Lu Pingan said somewhat awkwardly. Sigh. Lu Changxing shook his head helplessly. He then took them to a secluded spot and took out a stack of talismans and a couple of bottles from his storage ring to give to his son. In the past, he would have carried a plethora of magical artifacts and heavenly and earthly treasures on him. But now, with a family to care for, the previously acquired magical artifacts and treasures were all placed in the treasure pavilion at home for the family to manage. Therefore, he only had elixir medicines and talismans with no spare magical artifacts. Otherwise, he would have equipped his son with a complete set of magical artifacts. Thank you, Father. Lu Pingan's heart warmed as he thanked his father. Big brother, do you need any magical artifacts? See if there's anything you could use? At this moment, Lu Chuanjin took out several top-tier magical artifacts and asked. These artifacts had been prepared by Lu Changxing for him, complete for offense, defense, escape, and support. No need, I have magical artifacts. Lu Pingan quickly waved his hands, feeling awkward about taking his younger brother's artifacts. Big brother, I have a robe and I won't be using this spiritual armor. Take it. Lu Chuanjin, knowing his elder brother practiced body cultivation, handed Lu Pingan a piece of spiritual armor. Since Chuanjin is offering it so kindly, then accept it. Be extra cautious on this trip into the secret realm. Lu Changxing, pleased to see his sons getting along well, said with contentment. He then informed Lu Pingan about some points to be wary of in the Purple Shadow secret realm. Although Lu Pingan mentioned he understood the realm's situation. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 946. Pingan, how did you come here? But he knew without thinking that most of it was just baseless gossip spread by loose cultivators, with truth and falsehoods intermingled. It was better not to believe in them at all. After Lu Changxing had finished speaking, he continued to instruct. By the way, if you see any rare spiritual medicine like heavenly spirit fruits, just uproot them completely, and later put them into Quanzhen's spirit plant bag. This trip to the Purple Shadow secret realm, he naturally thought of the heavenly spirit fruits that were abundant within. Though the heavenly spirit fruit was only a second-rank spirit fruit, aside from in the Purple Shadow secret realm, it was practically impossible to grow elsewhere. But for such a situation, Lu Changxing thought of his little green bottle. He believed that he could try to cultivate heavenly spirit fruits using the myriad spirits bottle. If he could successfully grow and harvest them, his family wouldn't need to worry about foundation establishment elixirs in the future. All right, Father. Lu Pingan nodded his head. His main purpose before was the heavenly spirit fruits. He now firmly committed these words to memory. Encountering any rare spirit flowers or spirit grasses, he would uproot them all. By the way, what's going on with you having broken through to the 5th layer of the 100 Refinements treasure body art? At this time, Lu Changxing became concerned about his son's second-order body refining. At the time he found out that Lu Pingan had a body refinement breakthrough, he was flabbergasted for quite a while. Lu Pingan scratched his head and shared his experience. He mentioned that he previously encountered an ambush and coincidentally, an ironback centipede and a vermilion toad entered his body. At that time he was almost unconscious, about to pass out. Sarch * the Novelier. N.T. website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. But the light had appeared before and the 100 Refinements treasure body art had run automatically, refining the magical treasures and both poisons inside his body, so he broke through the fifth layer. As for the matter with Su Jiuer, because he had previously promised her and sworn an oath that bound his heart demon, he didn't mention it too much. Be more careful in the future. Lu Changxing patted his son's shoulder and said solemnly. The process might sound simple, but he could hear the danger in it, because he knew that the Hope Gu worked only when encountering a hopeless situation. This indicated that, at that time, Lu Pingan was actually on the verge of death. Father, I understand. Lu Pingan nodded again and again. He himself was quite frightened after the fact. After explaining everything, the trio returned to the area around the altar. The presence of a false core immortal. Just as they sat down, Lu Changxing sensed a dominant aura coming from the south. Soon after, a white jade tower ship with intricately carved beams and lavish decorations approached from the sky. At the forefront of the ship's deck, stood a long-haired woman, enchanting in appearance, exuding charm in every gesture. She wore a light pink sheer palace dress, which made her graceful figure distinctly visible. Especially her pair of snow-white beautiful legs, lightly covered by the sheer dress, revealed their shape, yet added a hazy temptation. It's Huanin sect. It seems to be the bewitching melody real person from Huanin sect. People immediately loudly exclaimed and observed the magnificent ship. The false core immortal from Huanin sect? Lu Changxing glanced a few times but did not look any more. Though this false core immortal was overflowing with allure, capturing the unwavering attention of many who wanted to look but dared not stare. To Lu Changxing she was quite ordinary. The reason was simple: a dignified false core immortal actually had an air of vulgarity about her. This behavior, however, seemed to surprise Lu Chuanjin, who was next to him. After all, his father was famously fond of women. And as one of Jiang country's top family forces, Huanin sect was known for its female cultivators, music mastery, dance, bewitching technique and beauty. The fact that his own father showed so little interest in Huanin sect was unusual. Seeing the dust-covered figures on the deck of the ship, he also showed disdain. The Huanin sect's ship did not descend but hovered silently in midair, waiting for the secret realm to open. Such behavior was extremely disrespectful to the cultivators below, akin to trampling on their heads. Yet, none of the cultivators present dared to say anything. After all, the Huanin sect possessed nascent soul-level strength, with a false core immortal leading the group. Not long after the Huanin sect arrived, another sect from the duo of sects and trio of cities and great clans, Danxia Mountain, made its appearance. It was a sect that specialized in alchemy. The famous Elixir Cauldron Pavilion was a business under Danxia Mountain. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Suddenly clouds churned in the distance and thunder roared, followed by a massive commotion. A divine vessel, pulled by 9 nine-headed wind thunder steeds, cut through the air and approached. All of the second-order monster beasts soared across the sky amidst clouds and thunder, their imposing manner stunning. On the divine vessel flew a flag with the dancing character Su. Beast-taming Su family. What a grand display, using 9 second-order monster beasts to pull the chariot. Which ancestor of the Su family has come in person? Many cultivators whispered upon seeing this, their eyes filled with apprehension and respect. After all, as one of Jiang country's 3 great clans, the beast-taming Su family had deep roots and a far-reaching reputation. Beast-taming Su family. Lu Changxing's eyes narrowed slightly as he saw this display. He remembered Su Rian mentioning that the beast-taming Su family had taken notice of him. However, the person leading the group on the divine vessel did not seem to be the third ancestor of the Su family mentioned by Su Rian. As these nascent soul-level forces hovered in the air, conversing across the distance, each seemed more grandiose than the last, inspiring awe and envy in the cultivators below. After all, most people cultivated not only for longevity but also to someday ascend to such levels of lofty eminence. No wonder the presence of a nascent soul immortal signifies a top-tier force. At this moment, Lu Changxing truly understood why a clan or power with a nascent soul immortal at its helm was considered top-tier. Without a nascent soul immortal, such a family power could hardly accumulate any heritage. Just like White Tiger Mountain. Despite its lineage reportedly spanning 1,000 years, its foundations were quite limited. Once faced with risk or crisis, it could be destroyed at any time. Like Huanin sect, Danxia Mountain, and beast-taming Su family, these powers could at the very least sustain several false core immortals to stabilize the situation, waiting for the birth of a new nascent soul immortal. As the opening of the secret realm approached, Qingyun sect, Luoxia sect, and spirit-taming sect arrived almost on time. All 3 sects were led by nascent soul immortals. Apart from the spirit-taming sect, which rode a formidable quasi-third order golden sculptor spirit beast. Qingyun sect and Luoxia sect respectively traveled in giant ships and magical towers, seeming much more unpretentious. However, despite the ordinary displays of these two great immortal sects, none in the field dared to underestimate them. As the time for the secret realm's opening drew near, the nascent soul-level sovereign of Jiang country, the Heavenly Sword sect, arrived fashionably late. The sect's flying magical treasure was simple, a gigantic flying sword that tore through the sky with tremendous spiritual pressure. Standing on the flying sword were about 30 Qi refinement disciples, all clad in white sword attire, carrying magical swords on their backs, their expressions stoic, radiating sharpness. Leading them was a stern-looking teenager of about 15 or 16, dressed in a plain white robe and with ordinary features. If not for the immense spiritual pressure emanating from his body and the boundless sharp aura, it would be hard to tell he was a nascent soul immortal. Heavenly Sword Sect. Yujin Jinren. All cultivators of Ziyun Gorge gazed at the arrival from the Heavenly Sword Sect, their faces showing a respect. The several nascent soul-level powers that had arrived earlier all stepped forward to greet them. Lu Pingan looked at the newcomers from the Heavenly Sword Sect, and when he saw a slender figure on the flying sword, his expression suddenly froze. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 947. First Love Lu Family's F3 Attacks. Qin. Lu Pingan hadn't expected to run into Qin here. Seeing her successfully join the Heavenly Sword sect and become one of its disciples, he felt genuinely happy for her. After all, from their early conversations, he knew it was her dream to join the Heavenly Sword sect and become a sword immortal. Lu Changxing, noticing his son's sudden change of expression, immediately looked towards the huge flying sword of the Heavenly Sword sect. The disciples standing on the flying sword were both men and women, most of them quite young, in their 20s or 30s. Pingan, do you know someone from the Heavenly Sword sect? Lu Changxing looked at several female disciples, asking aloud. Lu Pingan hesitated for a moment before retracting his gaze and calming his emotions, saying, "Yes, an old acquaintance from the past." "A woman?" Lu Changxing raised an eyebrow, continuing his inquiry. Lu Pingan's face showed surprise, momentarily at a loss for words. But under his father's gaze, he eventually nodded his head. "The same young girl you met during your travels years ago?" Lu Changxing's face suddenly showed a hint of playfulness. He thought to himself that after so many years, his son still remembered that young girl. Indeed, first love is hard to forget. Without experiencing 3 or 5 romances, this first love is not easily forgotten. He figured it would keep fermenting in his heart, becoming ever more idealized and unforgettable. Lu Chuanjin by his side showed a hint of gossip upon hearing this. He had interacted with Lu Pingan numerous times. Thus, he understood a bit about his older brother's character, knowing him to be very diligent and upright. Now, it seemed he was also a man of deep feelings. Though he had no experience with love, having such a father, he always found it odd that their family would produce such a devoted and passionate individual. Under these teasing gazes, Lu Pingan nodded with a somewhat heavy heart. "Which one? Point her out to your father." Lu Changxing, as a father, immediately took interest in his son's romantic affairs. Sia the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. That might not be appropriate, Lu Pingan said with some embarrassment. It had already been more than 10 years since they last met, and back then neither had expressed their feelings. Now, the way his father was acting made him feel awkward. What's there to be embarrassed about? Your father just wants to take a glance, not immediately ask for your hand, Lu Changxing said, seeing his son act so coy. He slapped him lightly on the head. At such an age, and yet so little progress in matters of the heart. Under his father's pressure, Lu Pingan reluctantly pointed out Qin Yi. "So, Pingan, you like this type?" Lu Changxing looked at a female disciple standing on the enormous flying sword, a woman around 25 or 26 with slender eyes, ruddy lips, a straight nose, wearing the robe of the Heavenly Sword sect and with a high ponytail, radiating a heroic spirit. Lu Pingan remained silent. Though he was somewhat happy to see Qin Yi, he didn't want to reunite. Years of cultivation had taught him that the issue of his spiritual root was of great importance. If Qin Yi were to learn that he had stepped onto the immortal path, it could bring trouble to his family. "If you like her, pursue her boldly," Lu Changxing said as he patted his son's shoulder. However, seeing his son's somewhat somber and silent demeanor, he paused and guessed his son's thoughts. Back then, Lu Pingan felt he was a mere mortal, and immortals were different, so he didn't want to hold her back. Now that Lu Pingan had embarked on the immortal path, the matter of the spiritual route was ultimately significant. If it were known, it might cause trouble. Sigh. Lu Changxing sighed in his heart. His son was very responsible, which caused him to overthink many things. He thought that maybe when they returned home he should ask his wife, Lu Miaoyun, to find a few women with similar charm and temperament for his son to meet, in hopes to help him move past these feelings. Sometimes you can be bolder. Lu Changxing stopped teasing his son and spoke seriously. Then, turning to Lu Chuanjun beside him, he said, Chuanjun, if you meet someone you like, remember to be bold. Your mother has been nagging you about this recently. Oh, I understand. Lu Chuanjun hadn't expected the conversation to turn to him and replied helplessly. Qingshan, how come you're not here yet? At that moment, Lu Changxing, seeing that all 4 great immortal sects had arrived, indicating that the secret realm would soon open, wondered why Tianyuan True Immortal hadn't yet brought Lu Qingshan. Concerning this, he could only think that Tianyuan True Immortal lived up to his stereotype of being unreliable. However, just as he had this thought, he saw a divine rainbow shooting down from the clouds above, carrying an astonishing momentum that made everyone look up. Is that a nascent soul immortal? If all 4 great immortal sects are already here, why is a nascent soul immortal coming? A cultivator exclaimed upon seeing the divine rainbow. Besides for events like the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, nascent soul immortals rarely appeared in public. To suddenly have 5 nascent soul immortals appear today was extremely rare. The divine rainbow was fleeting and soon settled in midair. Once the brilliant light dispersed, a giant gourd appeared before everyone's eyes. Standing atop it was a stunning woman in her 30s, wearing a lavish scarlet gown, and sitting beside her was a young man in his 20s with star-like eyes and sword-like eyebrows, dressed in white and gold. The woman was none other than Tianyuan True Immortal. Unlike her usual casual demeanor, today her hair was neatly tied up, her gown tidy, and her entire demeanor exuded a noble and majestic aura as she said to the Yujin Jinren of the Heavenly Sword Sect, Yujin Jinren, I trust you've been well. Tianyuan True Immortal, what brings you here? Yujin Jinren, with a stern face, looked at Tianyuan True Immortal. I was just passing by. Hearing about the opening of the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, I thought to send my disciple here for some experience, Tianyuan True Immortal said with lightly parted red lips. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 948. First Love. Lu Family's F3 takes action. As the words were spoken, the 4 nascent soul immortals and the disciples of the 4 great immortal sects present all turned their attention to Lu Qingshan. Faced with such scrutiny, an ordinary person would have felt like they were being pricked by thorns, their complexion turning pale and showing an ugly demeanor. But Lu Qingshan stood up with a calmness that was unparalleled. An invisible pressure allowed the aura that had merged into his blood and bones from sword-charging bull's might to slowly rise, giving Lu Qingshan an indescribable power that surged within. He stood with a straight back, and it seemed as though there was a sharp sword inside his body, capable of piercing the heavens and swallowing the stars. It gave off a sense of fearlessness, lawlessness, and a firm belief that he could overcome all, both in spirit and in momentum. Just this spirit and momentum alone made all the disciples of the 4 great immortal sects reveal a look of solemn respect on their faces. Especially the disciples of the Heavenly Sword Sect. As sword cultivators, they felt an unstoppable, domineering sword intent from Lu Qingshan. Immediately, several disciples of the Heavenly Sword Sect looked at Lu Qingshan full of fighting spirit, wanting to spar with him in a match. What a sword Dao seedling! Yujin Jinren praised, gazing at Lu Qingshan, who stood upright like a sword atop the gourd. As a nascent soul immortal from the Heavenly Sword Sect, he had seen many talented sword Dao geniuses. But people like Lu Qingshan could be counted on one hand in hundreds of years. What's your name? Yujin Jinren asked. Ordinarily, let alone an energy-refining cultivator, even a foundation establishment cultivator would not be worthy of him personally asking their name. But he took a liking to a sword cultivator like Lu Qingshan. He believed that as long as the other did not die prematurely, he would certainly become renowned in the cultivation world. Sir, the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Qingshan, I've seen the true immortal. Lu Qingshan spoke neither humbly nor arrogantly, giving a cupped fist salute. Good Lu Qingshan, I shall remember you. You may come to our heavenly sword sect to challenge us in the future. Yujin Jinren nodded and said so, tossing an identity token to Lu Qingshan. A challenge among sword cultivators was their way of sparring. As the representatives of the martial cultivator faction, sword cultivators were always known for their powerful combat abilities and combative fighting techniques. Moreover, fighting technique, apart from cultivation, also needed to be built up through battle after battle. Thus, many sword cultivators, after reaching a certain stage in their cultivation, would travel far and wide to challenge others, to refine their sword heart and sword intent. Many thanks, true immortal. Lu Qingshan graciously caught the token, replying with a cupped fist salute. Tianyuan True Immortal has taken a good disciple. A nascent soul immortal from the Wuxia sect voiced their admiration from the side. Jiang country and Yu country neighbored each other, and there were many interactions on regular days. Thus, the nascent soul immortals from the two countries, even if they hadn't met, generally recognized each other. More tempering is needed. Tianyuan True Immortal's face showed a hint of a smile while saying so. She was willing to spend so much time running around because her disciple, Lu Qingshan, greatly satisfied her. After all, when she accepted Lu Qingshan as her disciple in the early years, it was simply because she valued his Gingjin body constitution and wished to continue the legacy. But now, as Lu Qingshan increasingly demonstrated astonishing talent, she began to truly cultivate him as her personal disciple. As the four true immortals conversed, several powers led by false core cultivators also looked towards Tianyuan True Immortal, sizing up Lu Qingshan. They knew that in this trip to the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, another formidable opponent would be added. As for the cultivators below, they only looked up into the sky from afar, not knowing what was going on. Qingshan. Among the crowd, Lu Miaofeng and others recognized Lu Qingshan. But at this moment, for them, Lu Qingshan could only be looked up to. They weren't even qualified to have a face-to-face conversation. However, seeing Lu Qingshan standing high above them, they also felt a sense of pride and shared glory. Indeed, the big shots all have to step on something. Lu Changxing sighed upon seeing this scene. He then turned to Lu Pingan beside him and said, "The one above is your younger brother Lu Qingshan. After you enter the secret realm, you can contact Qingshan through your identity token." On Lu Qingshan's return this time, he naturally made identity tokens for Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhu. Through the token, the Lu family disciples could sense each other, communicate, ask for help, confirm identities and more. Ah, younger brother Lu Qingshan? Lu Pingan was taken aback upon hearing this. When Lu Qingshan was born, he was already living a secular life. And by the time he came to Qingzhu Mountain, Lu Qingshan had been accepted as a disciple by Tianyuan True Immortal. Therefore he had never seen his younger brother Lu Qingshan. Leaving aside Lu Qingshan, of the more than 200 siblings in his family, he was somewhat blind and couldn't recognize them. So, when walking around by Lake Mountain, as long as someone called him brother, he would just treat them as his siblings. "Dad, what's the situation with brother Qingshan?" Confusion was written all over Lu Pingan's face as he looked up at Lu Qingshan in the sky. He was unaware of why his brother had such a grand scene, and there were even nascent souls seeing him off. He was previously taken in as a disciple by a true immortal of Yu country's Jinyang sect, and this time he just happened to come to the Purple Shadow Secret Realm for the trial, explained Lu Changxing. "This is his master, Tianyuan True Immortal." "Ah, I see." Lu Pingan looked at Lu Qingshan and nodded. He had just learned that he had such an outstanding younger brother. However, when he thought about his father's divine skills, it seemed normal for the family to have several strong siblings. Still, when he looked up at Lu Qingshan and then at Lu Chuanjin, who had reached the 9th level of energy refinement, he felt a certain pressure in his heart. It wasn't out of a desire to compete. As the eldest brother, he felt that even if he was to fall behind, he couldn't afford to fall behind too much. After the immortals in the sky had chatted enough, or when the time to open the secret realm arrived, the nascent soul immortals leading the 4 great immortal sects, headed by the Heavenly Sword sect, came forward to the purple altar in the center, each holding a purple gold token. Mana of the nascent soul level was poured into the tokens. Buzz, buzz, buzz. On the altar, purple light emerged, interweaving enigmatic and unpredictable runes, glittering ceaselessly like stars. All the runes interwove, gradually forming a pentagram formation map, making the earth tremble. Then, several massive pillars of light soared into the sky, tens of meters in height, awe-inspiring, turning heaven and earth into a shade of purple and green. While countless people were terrified, feeling the air getting heavier, a huge void portal slowly appeared above the altar. The portal, like a black hole vortex, was unclear inside. Yet, it emanated an ancient and vicissitudinous air, seemingly from another world out of place here. So this is the secret realm. Lu Changxing was shaken as he stared at the portal in front of him. This was his first time seeing a secret realm. According to ancient records, most secret realms in the cultivation world were handed down from antiquity, opened by great spiritual adepts. But for some reason they reappeared in the world and could be accessed through certain methods, entering the secret realm. Secret realms could vary widely, some being desolate, with even the risk of spatial collapse at any moment. The Purple Shadow secret realm in front of them belonged to the rare kind that contained great opportunities. However, only energy refining cultivators could enter. If Foundation establishment cultivators attempted to enter, it would destabilize the secret realm and result in their expulsion. Not just Lu Changxing, many others were also shaken at the sight. The Purple Shadow secret realm will last for 1 month. All may enter the secret realm but must follow these rules. Yujian Jinren of the Heavenly Sword sect's calm and indifferent voice spread throughout the valley. A huge yellow list appeared in the air, its golden characters delineating the rules of the Purple Shadow secret realm. All cultivators entering the secret realm must surrender half of their findings afterward. Various heavenly and earthly treasures appeared, indicating that these could only be traded with the 4 great immortal sects. You were only allowed to take them with you if you acquired multiple rare heaven and earth spiritual materials. We will strictly obey the immortals' decree. The cultivators in the field responded in unison. The rules of the Purple Shadow secret realm were well known to everyone. And even if they weren't, there was no room for dissent. Then, the cultivators from the Heavenly Sword sect, Qingyun sect, Luoxia sect, and Spirit Taming sect successively entered the portal. Shortly after, several Jidan forces and false core level forces followed. At this time, Lu Qingshan entered the secret realm on his sword. Father, we're going. After most had entered, Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjin addressed Lu Changxing. Be very careful. Lu Changxing advised. Father, rest assured. The two nodded, then directly entered the portal. Phew. Lu Changxing watched his sons Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjin enter the secret realm, taking a deep breath, his heart feeling somewhat heavy. Even though he had confidence in his sons, it was their first time, and he couldn't completely stay detached. Swish, swish, swish. About half an hour later, nearly 90% of the 1,000 energy refining cultivators had entered the secret realm. The once teeming hillside was suddenly empty. Only a few Foundation establishment cultivators remained, along with some large boats, ships, and treasure pavilions floating in the air. 1 month. Lu Changxing looked around, exhaled softly, and sat down cross-legged to rest and rejuvenate, waiting for his sons to emerge from the secret realm. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 949. 3 brothers explore the secret realm. Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjin entered the portal and immediately felt the world spinning around them. Every direction turned into void, pitch black, unable to use any mana at all. The legend says that entering the Purple Shadow secret realm feels similar to the long-lost teleportation array, and indeed it does. Lu Chuanjin muttered to himself, trying to make out his surroundings. But darkness enveloped him on all sides, endless and colorless. Had he not been forewarned, encountering such a situation suddenly would have sent shivers down his spine. After a moment he felt a bit sore all over and dizzily opened his eyes. So this is the Purple Shadow secret realm. Lu Chuanjin rubbed his temples and surveyed the area. He found himself in a forest dense with spiritual energy, mist swirling around. Most striking was the purple gloom covering the sky dome. After ensuring he was in a safe area, he gently tapped his storage bag, setting up a simple formation to regulate his condition. Although the teleportation hadn't affected him much, since he was now in the secret realm, it was natural to maintain the best condition at all times. After all, with so many cultivators entering the Purple Shadow secret realm, conflicts and killings were inevitable. And the acquisition from the realm, amounting to 50%, was to be handed over to the 4 great immortal sects. This included spiritual herbs and medicines, and heaven and earth spiritual material tainted with the essence of the realm. Assets pilfered from other cultivators such as money, magic artifacts and spiritual objects, were not included. Thus, most people in the Purple Shadow secret realm died not at the hands of demon beasts, but at the hands of other cultivators. At that moment, Lu Chuanjin felt something and pulled out his family token from the storage bag. It indicated someone was within the range of the token's sensing. He immediately knew it was his elder brother, Lu Pingan. After all, without even thinking, he knew his younger brother Lu Qingshan wouldn't likely seek him out immediately upon entering. The two had agreed that after entering the realm, they would see about meeting up in the central area, treating the outer zone like a trial area. Lu Chuanjin infused spiritual power into the token, responding to Lu Pingan. This elder brother, with a steady nature, was not overly competitive and wouldn't be a hindrance. Moreover, being a practitioner of second-order body refining, he was reliable and provided an additional layer of security. As spiritual power was infused, the two identity tokens gradually formed an invisible connection, sensing each other remotely. They could discern each other's rough location through the tokens. After recuperating for a long time, Lu Quanzhen's condition fully recovered, and he lightly lifted his hand to retract the formation flags, starting to explore the secret realm. He chose not to fly with his artifact, nor did he hasten on his way. Instead, he carefully headed towards the direction of Lu Pingan. After all, the secret realm was dangerous and flying recklessly was like making oneself a live target. Moreover, the realm was filled with opportunities that needed to be slowly explored. After walking several miles, Lu Chuanjin spotted over a dozen light cyan-colored fruits, the size of a thumb, growing on rocks in the distance. Stone cyan fruit. Lu Chuanjin immediately recognized what they were. However, by their color, these spiritual medicines were not quite ripe yet. But having encountered them, who cared if they were fully matured? Especially since he had prepared a spirit plant bag in advance, allowing him to maintain some vitality of the spirit plants, which he could then transplant back home. Slapping his storage bag, a low-grade puppet appeared. He then operated the puppet to go and pluck all 13 stone cyan fruits clean. After completing the task, he continued moving cautiously. So soon there is slaughter. After a long walk, Lu Chuanjin suddenly smelt blood and abruptly halted, casting an invisibility technique. Carefully peering in the direction, he immediately spotted two corpses beside a dark pool, one decapitated, another stabbed through the heart. Search * the novel under at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. They lay on the ground as if mutually annihilated, with a strong stench of blood permeating the air. In the calm center of the adjacent dark pool, there was also a palm-sized white lotus, glimmering with a blue luster. Mutual destruction? Water cloud lotus. Lu Quanzhen's eyes narrowed, filled with caution. After observing for a moment and seeing no movement, he tentatively sent a low-grade puppet out to approach the two bodies. However, just as the puppet approached the bodies to retrieve a storage bag, whizzing from the dark pool, silver needles shot towards Lu Chuanjin. Clang clang clang. Lu Chuanjin was well prepared, forming swirling vortexes of 5 colors around him, and a small dark shield appeared, blocking all the silver needles. Then, with a sudden slap of his hand, a 5-colored torrent blasted towards the dark pool. Boom! The dark pool erupted with a loud noise, sending unknown amounts of water flying into the air. Suddenly, a beautiful girl in a light yellow dress emerged from the pool, coldly saying to Lu Chuanjin, "You've got some skill, now scram." She was here fishing, and seeing that Lu Chuanjin was quite strong and cautious, she didn't want to waste time and energy. Wuxia sect disciple. Lu Quanzhen's eyes slightly narrowed, showing no sign of backing down. He had always wanted to gauge the gap between himself and a disciple of the immortal sects. His previous sparring with Lu Qingshan was mere practice and didn't reveal much. Now encountering a Wuxia sect disciple, he naturally wouldn't miss the chance to test his skills. Courting death. Seeing that Lu Chuanjin showed no intention of leaving, instead looking at her as if she were prey, the girl's face flushed with anger and she slapped her pale palm. Whizzing. In an instant, countless silver needles shot towards Lu Chuanjin, densely packed and nearly impossible to defend against. The ground, where a corpse with a heart-pierced chest was, also buzzed as the sharp cone spun madly, rushing towards Lu Chuanjin like a frenzied drill. 5 elements Kunping technique. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 950. 3 brothers explore the secret realm. Lu Chuanjin formed a gesture incantation with both hands, and suddenly, a 5-colored fish appeared from the depths of the black pool, darting towards the girl in the yellow dress. Not good. The girl hadn't expected that Lu Quanzhen's previous attack still held a hidden maneuver. She immediately formed a protective aura around her body. But in an instant, the five-colored fish shattered the protective aura piece by piece, frightening the girl into abandoning her offensive and urgently driving her defensive magic artifact. Clang clang clang. A purple shield orbited around Lu Quanzhen's body, forming a purple-colored shield that enveloped him completely. With both hands performing a gesture incantation, he fiercely unleashed a five-colored torrent, sweeping grandly through the air. Boom! Struck by this onslaught, the girl was sent flying backwards explosively. However, as a disciple of the Wuxia sect, she was evidently not weak and was not defeated just like that, though her face looked rather embarrassed. Who are you for an independent cultivator to possess such strength? The coldness in the girl's eyes was evident as she spoke. Though it was true that a few formidable figures occasionally emerged among independent cultivators, like the Qingyuan Immortal, the #1 independent cultivator in Jiang country. But such instances were rare. In nearly 1,000 years, there had only been one Qingyuan Immortal. 99% of independent cultivators had strength far inferior to the disciples of the immortal sects. Seeing that Lu Quanzhen did not speak, she produced a small yellow mirror in her palm. The mirror radiated a golden light towards Lu Quanzhen, while the previously used silver needles and sharp spikes continued their assault towards him. But just in that moment, Puchi, a dazzling five-colored fish, directly penetrated the girl's protective aura, piercing her heart with the speed of lightning. Erg! The girl's body shook violently, her eyes filled with disbelief as she stared at her own chest. She could only feel a surging, overwhelming force shredding her internal organs as blood gushed out. How could this be? Her gaze fixed on Lu Quanzhen, but before she could finish her words, her body heavily collapsed to the ground. Bright red blood pooled around her, her beautiful eyes wide open in death. So this is a disciple of the immortal sects. Lu Quanzhen looked at the deceased girl with a calm and indifferent expression. If this was all that an immortal sect's disciple amounted to, then it truly was too uninteresting. Confirming that she was dead, Lu Quanzhen stepped forward and burnt all three corpses to ashes, then briefly dealt with the storage bags. For example, he tossed their sect tokens, magical robes and so on into the black pool. Though entering the secret realm implies taking responsibility for one's own life and death, everyone knew to avoid getting entangled with disciples of the immortal sects or major clans to avert trouble. After finishing, he plucked the water cloud lotus from the black pool, stored it in the spirit plant bag, and continued towards the direction of Lu Pingan. In a dense forest. No wonder it's called the Purple Shadow Secret Realm. Spiritual medicines can be found everywhere. Lu Pingan uprooted a spirit plant, placing it into his storage bag with a face full of joy. Though he had never lived in poverty, he was well aware of the hardships at the base of the cultivation world, where spirit stones were hard to earn. His family managed to maintain a balanced expenditure solely because of his father's support. Thus, seeing so many spiritual medicines on this trip and reaping spiritual medicines worth several hundred spirit stones in a short time, his heart was overjoyed. He felt that going forward like this, he could gather tens of thousands of spirit stones from this trip to the Purple Shadow Secret Realm. Although in the end he had to hand over 50% to the four great immortal sects, he was satisfied to keep the other half. Lu Pingan continued towards Lu Quanzhen's direction. Though he wished to reunite with his younger brothers soon, he knew the dangers of the realm and that he shouldn't be reckless or impatient. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. Lu Pingan had initially felt that he was quite lucky, stumbling upon spiritual medicines as he walked. But now, having gained nothing for so long, his mood was rather depressed. Just then, suddenly, a roaring bellow of a demon beast came from the side. This sound immediately caught Lu Pingan's attention. Is there a battle going on, or? Lu Pingan knew that although there were not many demon beasts in the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, wherever there were demon beasts, there were usually rare spiritual herbs. With this thought, Lu Pingan immediately headed towards the direction of the sound. Before long, he saw a golden giant bear chasing an old man and a young boy. The two did not confront the giant bear directly but skillfully entangled it, wearing it down. The old man, seeing Lu Pingan, immediately appeared alert through his slightly cloudy eyes. But seeing Lu Pingan's 7th level energy refinement strength, he shouted, "Taoist, there are several 7-star grasses in this Vajra bear's cave. If you help us deal with it, we will share the spiritual medicines equally." While trust was rare among cultivators in the secret realm, many still grouped together for mutual benefit. Besides, with the grandfather and grandson, one at the 9th level and one at the 8th level, and Lu Pingan merely at the 7th level, in such a situation, they naturally did not fear how Lu Pingan might act. If Lu Pingan turned out to be wealthy, they could even possibly seize all his possessions. 7-star grass? CTH novel F. Ire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Hearing this, Lu Pinggan's eyes immediately lit up. The 7-star grass was a main ingredient for the lifespan extension pill, extremely valuable. He immediately responded loudly, "Agreed. Let's do it." With his words he shot out like a cannonball towards the Vajra bear. Taoist? The old man and the boy were stunned by Lu Pinggan's actions, utterly bewildered. What was happening? Facing a demon beast he was charging right towards it? Could it be that he intended to fight the demon beast in close combat? However, before they could finish their sentence, they saw Lu Pinggan reaching the Vajra bear. With fists clenched, he leapt up, his right arm shimmering with a golden glow like a divine drum, breaking through layers of air, and solidly smashing into the Vajra bear's head. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 951, Bang. Under Lu Pinggan's punch, the Vajra bear's skull burst open, and its sharp, pointed teeth shattered and flew. The enormous body that was 5 meters tall spun like a top and flew backwards, crashing to the ground and creating a huge pit. What's wrong? Only then did Lu Pinggan turn his head to look towards the befuddled grandfather and grandson whose gazes were dull. It's nothing. The elderly man, still confused, swallowed hard and said awkwardly. He had just thought that with Lu Pinggan at the Chi Refinement 7th level, he could easily handle him by himself. But that punch had completely dumbfounded everyone. Having traveled the north and south for decades, he had never seen such a vicious person. At Chi Refinement 7th level, to punch a demon beast into flight and apparently incapacitated. Grandpa, isn't this Vajra bear known for its immense strength and indestructible body? The young man next to him swallowed his saliva, his face somewhat pale as he asked his grandfather. Typically, the combat power of demon beasts was stronger than that of cultivators at the same level. They had decided to confront this Vajra bear solely because it guarded the 7-star grass. But never did they expect that the Vajra bear that they could only slowly wear down and struggle against would be blasted away by someone else with a single punch, leaving its life hanging by a thread, making them question their existence. This must be the young master of some family here for training, be polite later. The elderly man, watching the scene unfold before him, advised his grandson in a low voice. Bang bang bang. In front, Lu Pinggan reached the pit, his fists raining down on the Vajra bear like meteor showers. His punches, like landslides and tsunamis, were so powerful that the ground could hardly bear it, continually trembling and forming a crater with dust swirling around. Shortly after, Lu Pinggan lifted the now-dead Vajra bear out of the pit. How do you want to divide this Vajra bear? Lu Pinggan looked towards the elderly man and the youth and asked. Although he had killed the beast himself, since it was their prey and they had expended a lot of effort, he chose not to claim it all. We don't need it. The elderly man immediately shook his head. In this situation, how could they dare to split the spoils with him? If it angered him, just one punch could end both their journey in the secret realm. Fine. Upon hearing this, Lu Pinggan nodded, not standing on ceremony, and took out his magical sword to dissect the Vajra bear. He collected the bear paws, bear gall and bear blood, the more valuable materials, into his storage bag. After all, he couldn't fit the bear's large body entirely into his storage bag. Moreover, if the corpse of a dead demon beast isn't handled promptly, it can't be used later. Taoist, where is the 7-star grass? After finishing, Lu Pinggan looked at the two and asked. It's just ahead. The elderly man and the young man very courteously led Lu Pinggan to a cave filled with a foul stench. Inside the cave, there were 5 spirit grasses shimmering with specks of starlight. Indeed, 7-star grass, and there are 5 of them. Lu Pinggan's face showed joy. But looking at the 5-star grasses, he was somewhat unsure how to divide them. Just as he was about to speak, the elderly man proactively said, Taoist, since you defeated the Vajra bear, how about you take 3 of the 7-star grass and we take 2? Are you two only taking 2? Lu Pinggan frowned slightly. After all, they had discovered the 7-star grass, and all he did was defeat the Vajra bear. Taking the larger share seemed a bit embarrassing. It's fine. If it weren't for you, we would not have been able to obtain the 7-star grass so easily. The elderly man, wearing a Taoist robe and showing a kindly face, said, I won't take advantage of you, I'll take 2. Lu Pinggan wasn't naive, realizing that their fear was the reason for their offer. But in his view, he had already obtained part of the Vajra bear, so 2 7-star grasses were sufficient. Thank you, Taoist. You are alone. If convenient, we could accompany each other. Amazed inside, the elderly man thought that today he had met a good person. He immediately guessed that Lu Pingan must be a young master from a large family here for training. Only such family members could be so generous. Because ordinary loose cultivators, if characteristic of kindness and generosity, would have difficulty reaching the 9th level of qi refinement. He continued, "This old Taoist is not without skill. I know some techniques to inspect and find spiritual herbs and medicines." Lu Pingan glanced at the elder, and the young man pondered for a moment and nodded, "Okay. The elder is surnamed Kong, just call me old Taoist Kong, and this is my grandson little Kong." The elder's face showed delight as he immediately spoke out. "And Ping." Lu Pingan gave out his pseudonym. An old Taoist Kong thought for a moment and had not heard of any prominent in families in Jiang country. However, he did not care, for who would use their real name within the secret realm? Besides, other than the children of major families, who knows? There might be a successor from a hidden lineage. Soon afterward, the three of them divided the 7-star grass and traveled together. Like old Taoist Kong and the young man who had no specific destination, their main goal was to find more spiritual herbs and medicines in the periphery. Thus, they slowly moved in the direction pointed out by Lu Pingan. Beside a mountain cliff. Boom boom boom. 4 men and women were hunting a massive tiger, its body ablaze with black flames. Roar roar roar. At this moment, under the combined attack of the 4, the black tiger kept roaring with wounds all over. But the black flames enveloping its body rolled fiercely, presenting a terrifying power that kept the 4 from approaching. They could only suppress it with magic artifacts. Then at that moment, Puchi. A sword light slashed down from above, directly decapitating the black tiger, blood splattering everywhere. "I'll take this spirit fruit." Lu Qingshan, dressed in a platinum brocade robe and holding a magical sword, stood in the air and spoke to the 4, who were astonished and caught off guard. The 4 looked at Lu Qingshan, wanting to say something but afraid to speak. Outside the secret realm, Lu Qingshan and a nascent soul immortal had arrived. They had all seen Lu Qingshan and knew he was not simple. Moreover, the sheer power displayed by Lu Qingshan's sword had left them all fearful, knowing they were no match for him. After speaking, Lu Qingshan did not wait for their agreement and stepped forward to take something. On the mountain cliff, a fruit radiating spiritual essence suddenly fell into his hand. After placing the fruit into the spirit plant bag, Lu Qingshan didn't even glance at the 4 and rode his sword away. "Humph, that's just too domineering," a woman muttered under her breath with a dissatisfied face. However, she only dared to mumble quietly and not make a fuss. After all, the sharp and soaring sword momentum from him had made her involuntarily palpitate. Seeing Lu Qingshan completely disappear, a middle-aged man next to her said with a bitter smile, "The cultivation world is just like this, survival of the fittest. It's already good that he didn't attack us. Although we subdued this spectral flame tiger, its strength was comparable to a second rank, its body extraordinarily tough, yet it was pierced by his single sword. No wonder he was sent to the secret realm by a nascent soul immortal." The other 2 looked at the spectral flame tiger on the ground, their eyes filled with fear and trepidation. They then began discussing how to divide this spectral flame tiger. "This purple shadow secret realm is really boring. We should head to the central area sooner to find some gains." Lu Qingshan stood on his flying sword, glanced at the sky dome enveloped in purple shadow, and headed towards the core area of the secret realm. He knew the secret realm was divided into the periphery and the central area. The spiritual medicines and herbs in the periphery grew without any pattern and were limited in age. The center was different. The spiritual medicines and herbs there were precious and rare, and a few dangerous places almost always contained rare spiritual medicines and exotic fruits. And the heavenly spirit fruits that Purple Shadow secret realm was known for were mostly in the central area. Although Lu Qingshan's trip was said to be a visit home to see Purple Shadow secret realm and hone himself, he actually wanted to get a few heavenly spirit fruits to take back. After all, his sister Lu Qingzhu had only a 7th grade spiritual root, though he had prepared 2 foundation establishment elixirs. In his view, that was still too few. He thought she would need at least 7 or 8 so his sister could face the foundation establishment without any burden or psychological pressure. Moreover, there was also his younger brother Lu Qingsong at home. Though with their father's abilities, getting a few foundation establishment elixirs should not be difficult. But with so many siblings and stepmothers at home, he felt his father could hardly take care of everyone. So whatever he could take care of, he would handle himself. Sar the novel fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. And this trip home, after seeing the situation at Qingzhou Mountain and his grandfather, he also thought of helping out as much as he could. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 952, Lu Chuanjin. My older brother seems pretty fierce. Purple Shadow Secret Realm. Ah, Taoist, spare my life. Taoist, where have we offended you? Please let us go, we'll give you everything we have. In a dense forest, piercing screams echoed. Several cultivators were seen frantically fleeing. Behind them rode a man on a giant wolf, leisurely pursuing them, occasionally releasing fireballs and wind blades. However, these fireballs and wind blades seemed to be toying with the few. The real killing intent came from above. Above the dense forest hovered a massive golden-crowned black feather eagle. On the eagle's back stood a man and a woman. The man was tall and sturdy, with a fierce and resolute face, holding a dark gold-colored great bow, drawing the bowstring towards the fleeing loose cultivators below. With a tremble of the bowstring, a blood-red arrow shot out, killing a loose cultivator below. This blood arrow seemed to have a demon nature, as its blood-red glow became even more intense after killing a person, returning to the burly man's hand. Tuoba Lai's blood feather arrow has become increasingly sharp. Now in the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, I'm afraid no one can withstand the might of Brother Tuoba's single arrow, said the beautiful woman next to him with sultry eyes, as if water were about to drip from her eyes. Those maniacs from the Heavenly Sword sect, and that Lu Qingshan who was sent here earlier by a nascent soul immortal, are not to be underestimated, he said. Otherwise, why would I waste time here making arrows? The tall man, with his fierce brows and eyes gleaming with a dark golden luster like those of a hawk, was incredibly sharp. Amid his speech, he gently pulled the bowstring again, killing another person. Tuoba Lai, you madman! Yelled one of the two remaining fleeing cultivators, clearly recognizing the archer. He never expected to encounter the madman of Spirit Taming Sect in the Secret Realm. Spirit Taming Sect, Tuoba Lai. By a large tree, Lu Chuanjin, who hid his body, watched this scene, looking up at the eagle and the man and woman. Even in his eyes, this disciple of Spirit Taming Sect named Tuoba Lai was far from ordinary. Completely incomparable to the sect disciple he had killed before from Wuxia sect. However, the other's behavior reminded him of some rumors about Spirit Taming Sect. Although the Spirit Taming Sect was a righteous sect, it bordered the Myriad Beasts mountain range, and disciples of the sect all formed contracts with demon beasts, hunting them, spending long periods mixed with the beasts, which often caused them to acquire beastly traits. Thus, many disciples of Spirit Taming Sect had a strong urge to kill, and they acted arrogantly on a normal day. Even more unscrupulous than the sword cultivators from Heavenly Sword Sect. Now, seeing the three from Spirit Taming Sect kill wantonly and take joy in slaughter, he truly understood. Even so, he had no inclination to get involved with the situation at hand. Clearly, the strength of these three were not ordinary. Unless he went all out, using second-rank talismans or second-rank puppets, he would not be a match for them. But he had a contingency plan, and as disciples of Spirit Taming Sect, they definitely had their own trump cards. So naturally he wouldn't take the risk. However, after Tuoba Lai on the eagle's back killed the cultivator who had just cursed him, his eyes gleaming with dark golden light, he suddenly turned towards the location of Lu Chuanjin. There's another one hiding here. After observing for a moment, he sneered, drew the bowstring fully and fired at Lu Quanzhen's location. Whoosh! The blood arrow streaked like a rainbow, bursting towards Lu Quanzhen's spot. Seeking death. Lu Chuanjin immediately felt locked in by a chi mechanism, his eyes suddenly cold. Sia the Novel Fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. With a raise of his hand, a 5 elements colored little fish burst forth from the palm of his hand. Boom! The 5 elements colored little fish instantly collided with the blood-red arrow, triggering layers of explosive energy. Indeed not simple, remarked Lu Chuanjin, his eyes focused as he formed a gesture incantation, causing the 5 elements light to surge around the small fish, swallowing the blood-red arrow with force. Seeing the wolf-riding man nearby looking towards him, Lu Chuanjin chose not to entangle any further. He immediately executed the divine rock technique, soaring away like a sky peng, leaving a lingering image behind. Buzzing. The blood arrow continued to pulse with blood-red light, breaking through the 5 elements colored little fish and returning back to the hands of Tuoba Lai. Which sect's disciple is this man? Tuoba Lai on the eagle's back focused his eyes, feeling that his blood arrow was slightly diminished by the opponent just now. Judging by his clothing, he's not from our sects, said the beautiful woman by his side, her expression filled with surprise. She hadn't expected anyone besides the geniuses from the other three great immortal sects to be able to block her brother Tuoba's arrows. Interesting. Zhou, don't let him escape, commanded Tuoba Lai, his eyes showing a trace of ferocity, as he looked at Lu Chuanjin, who was getting away with a snarl. The blood-colored arrow continued to rest on the bowstring, his chi locked on Lu Chuanjin. The man below, who was collecting a storage bag while riding the giant wolf, upon hearing his brother's words, instantly looked towards Lu Chuanjin and patted his giant wolf. Roar! The giant wolf howled, a hurricane emerging around it as it streaked towards Lu Chuanjin. You won't let it go, will you? Lu Quanzhen's figure soared, his eyes ice-cold as he looked back at the golden-crowned black feather eagle in the sky. If it were one-on-one, he was confident he could slay the opponent. But with 3 against 1, it would be difficult for him to approach and cut down this man named Tuoba Lai. Besides using a second-rank puppet and second-rank talisman, he couldn't think of another way to slay the opponent immediately. But he had to ensure all 3 were slain with a second-rank talisman. Otherwise, if even one managed to escape and later joined with other spirit-taming sect disciples, he would have trouble on his hands. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 953, Lu Chuanjin. My older brother seems pretty fierce. Just as Lu Chuanjin was thinking about escaping using a talisman, he suddenly realized he was not far from Lu Pingan. He alone dared not ensure the annihilation of all 3 enemies. But Lu Pingan also had a second-rank talisman in his hand. As long as Lu Pingan and he acted simultaneously, he was confident they could eliminate all 3. Immediately, Lu Quanzhen's eyes narrowed slightly, filled with killing intent as he channeled his spiritual power into his identity token, calling for Lu Pingan's help. He then flew towards the direction where Lu Pingan was located. And he held 2 second-rank talismans in his hand, waiting for the right moment. Roar! The giant wolf was very fast, relentlessly pursuing Lu Chuanjin. The golden-crowned black feather eagle in the sky was doing the same, relentlessly targeting Lu Chuanjin. At this moment, Lu Pingan was gathering spirit grass with old Taoist Kong and his grandson. It must be said, old Taoist Kong certainly had some exceptional skills in prospecting, which had yielded quite a rich harvest for Lu Pingan along the way. Although they had encountered 2 demon beasts, both were easily dealt with by Lu Pingan. Just then an identity token appeared in Lu Pingan's hand. As he looked at the token trembling and emitting a red glow, his expression suddenly darkened, and a harsh light shone in his eyes. I have something to attend to, I'll be right back, Lu Pingan said to the 2 Taoists. As his words fell, his figure burst forth, stirring up a long trail of forceful wind and waves that whipped their robes. Has Taoist encountered some trouble? Little Kong watched the rapidly disappearing Lu Pingan, looking somewhat shocked. Just now, a token appeared in his hand. It must be a token of summoning. It seems a friend is in trouble. Let's go take a look. This Taoist is no ordinary person. If you can befriend him, there will be many benefits in the future, Old Kong immediately said. Though he had partnered with Lu Pingan partially because he recognized Lu Pingan's fighting abilities, the main reason was he saw that Lu Pingan was generous and kind-hearted, hoping his grandson could befriend him. After all, as a loose cultivator, he knew well the hardships of being one. He hoped his grandson could join a faction through Lu Pingan and follow him. ZZZT. ZZZ. ZZZ. Lu Pingan was very worried about Lu Quanzhen's safety and even used a Godspeed talisman on himself, boosting his speed to the extreme, making it hard to capture his movement. Had he not cultivated the 100 refinements treasure body art to the 5th layer, an ordinary energy refining cultivator wouldn't have been able to withstand such speed. Before long, Lu Pingan sensed that the chi emitted by the token was just ahead. He saw a golden-crowned black eagle hovered in the sky with 2 figures on it. One of them held a bow and arrow and was shooting downwards hunter-style, seeking death. Lu Pingan immediately understood the situation and roared furiously at the figures on the eagle, his voice booming like thunder exploding across the heavens. Lu Pingan was usually not inclined to fight or kill. But at that moment, seeing someone hunting his brother like prey, a surge of intense rage and killing intent filled his heart. Death. Lu Pingan's foot tapped, and his whole body, like a ferocious dragon released from its cage, shot into the sky, his large and mighty body blasting through layers of air. Boom, boom, boom. His tall and majestic body now seemed like a rising dragon, his muscles swelling as if they were expanding, endless treasure light flowing through his body. Ha! Tuoba Lai, seeing Lu Pingan suddenly appear, was instantly on edge, sensing intense danger. But the next moment, his lips curled into a cruel smile and he loudly said, "Very good, very good. It seems the Purple Shadow secret realm is truly interesting, adding much pleasure." In the same breath, a black gold sharp arrow appeared in his hand, aimed at Lu Pingan. The beautiful woman beside him was naturally not just for show. Seeing this and knowing Lu Pingan was a body cultivator wanting to get close, she immediately performed a gesture incantation, and a red luo umbrella appeared in the air, her hand supporting a law bead. SSH. The black gold sharp arrow burst forth with a dazzling radiance, the sound of wind and thunder, shooting towards Lu Pingan's brow, aiming to kill with a single strike. Oh, oh, oh. Lu Pingan pulled back his right fist as if gathering all his force and the surrounding air into his fist. A mighty black great axe emerged behind him, spanning the heavens and the earth. Split the mountain. His fist thundered out, and the great axe slashed down, unleashing an unstoppable ferocious and dominant force, annihilating everything in its path. Danger, danger, danger. Tuoba Lai's mind sounded alarm bells of danger, feeling a cloud of lethal threat envelop him like never before. Not just him, the beautiful female cultivator beside him and the golden-crowned black feather eagle below them were enveloped by the death shadow, filled with fear. Sar the novel F.I.R. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. They couldn't understand what was happening. Wasn't the secret realm only supposed to allow energy refining cultivators? This kind of power, and you're telling me he's an energy refining cultivator? But they didn't have time to think further, as the divine fist had already obliterated the black gold sharp arrow and was now right in front of them. Boom, boom, boom. The red luo umbrella, the body protecting beads, the body protecting robe, the body protecting chi barrier, all shattered under the force of the punch. Perfectly demonstrating what it means to break all laws with sheer force. At that moment, both the people and the eagle exploded into a shower of blood. This, Lu Chuanjin, watching from above, was momentarily stunned and a bit confused. He hadn't even transmitted how to make their move, yet Lu Pingan had already made his. And his big brother seemed a bit fierce. Even he felt a chill in his heart facing that burst of ferocity. Lu Chuanjin didn't think much further, his expression ice-cold as he looked towards the wolf rider behind him, his eyes full of murderous intent. "You've followed for so long, let's see what you've got. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 954. Lu Chuanjin. My older brother seems pretty fierce. How is this possible? The man pursuing Lu Chuanjin gazed at the scene above him, his complexion suddenly turning deathly pale. He had never expected that his brother Tuoba Lai would be killed by a single punch. It was known that brother Tuoba was a formidable figure within the spirit-taming sect, with an impressive combat power. But now he had been killed by a single punch. And there was also Sister Yang and the golden-crowned black feather eagle. His face was extremely pale and full of shock. Seeing Lu Chuanjin coming to kill him, he was overwhelmed with fear and wanted to run away. But his mount, the giant wolf, was startled by the recent show of force and hesitated. Go. He hurriedly took out a talisman from his storage bag, hoping to use it to escape. But Lu Quanzhen's attack was already on the way. The Kunping 5 elements technique surged like a massive wave, and the thunder fire talisman he had been holding was activated in an instant. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Rolling thunder and flames rushed towards Zhou Ba. In the blink of an eye, they devoured both him and the giant wolf. Chuanjin, are you okay? At that moment, Lu Pingan arrived by Lu Quanzhen's side and asked. That punch he had thrown without holding back had cost him dearly, causing his blood and qi to surge within him, leaving his face somewhat pale. "I'm fine." A warm feeling arose in Lu Quanzhen's heart. He indicated that he had just been chased by 3 people and couldn't resolve the situation alone, so he had signaled for help, but he was not seriously harmed. That's good to hear. Lu Pingan said with a smile upon hearing this. I didn't expect your strength to be so astonishing, brother, Lu Chuanjin exclaimed. He felt that Lu Pingan's combat power now might be enough to challenge Lu Qingshan. However, he could tell that the price Lu Pingan paid for that punch was not small. It's alright, I've always been unclear about my own strength as I've never used my full force before. Lu Pingan shook his head. After breaking through the 5th layer of the 100 Refinements treasure body art, he had slain a few parasitic cultivators. Then on the way to the Purple Shadow secret realm, he killed a few energy refining robbery cultivators. So he wasn't quite sure about his own combat power. He only knew that his strength was not inferior to a 9th level energy refinement. These few seem quite wealthy, it's been a substantial haul. Lu Chuanzhen picked up a pile of storage bags and magic artifacts from the shredded magical robe of the wolf-mounted man. The three had hunted down many cultivators, resulting in more than a dozen storage bags. Then he and Lu Pingan picked up all the magic artifacts and storage bags from Tuoba Lai and the female cultivator. Among these magic artifacts, the red Luo umbrella was severely damaged under Lu Pingan's punch. The other artifacts were relatively undamaged. Lu Chuanzhen handed these storage bags to Lu Pingan and then picked up Tuoba Lai's black gold great bow to examine. He could tell that it was a top-tier top-grade magic artifact. Brother, this bow is pretty good. I think it suits you. Lu Chuanzhen handed the black gold great bow to Lu Pingan, saying so. Bow and arrow artifacts like this require not only mana but also physical strength. Indeed, it's pretty nice, but my archery skills are just average and I haven't practiced in a long time. Lu Pingan took the bow, attempting to draw it into a full moon. Brother, let's find a place to rest first. Once we're ready, we'll head straight to the central area. Lu Chuanzhen suggested. He had originally planned to train around the periphery. But through several bouts, he had gained a rough understanding of his own capabilities. Knowing that staying on the fringes was pointless, he prepared to head straight for the center. Okay. Lu Pingan nodded in agreement. At that moment, a chill crossed Lu Quanzhen's eyes as he looked to the side. He saw an old Taoist and a young man cautiously approaching. His palm rose lightly, ready to strike. Chuanzhen, these are friends I met on the way. Lu Pingan quickly called out upon seeing this. Brethren, I saw you were in a hurried state earlier, so I followed you here, wondering if I could be of any help. Old Taoist Kong immediately spoke up. He had sensed the astonishing commotion here earlier. Seeing the ashes and artifacts on the ground, he could roughly guess what had happened, fearing that the two might kill to silence witnesses. After all, the Lu Pingan before him seemed like a kind and generous man. But the Lu Chuanzhen before him was different. Just now, he distinctly felt a murderous intent from Lu Chuanzhen. Taoist Kong, young Taoist Kong, I am preparing to head to the central area of the secret realm, so I won't be able to journey with you both. I'm truly sorry, Lu Pingan said with an apologetic expression. It's fine, it's fine. We've already benefited from Brother A&S company along the way. If that is the case, brethren, take care on your journey. Old Taoist Kong made a bowing gesture with his hands. Brethren, take care. Young Kong next to him said also, feeling somewhat regretful. After all, traveling with Lu Pingan provided not only safety but also potential for considerable gains. Brother, let's go. Without further words, Lu Chuanzhen packed up their findings and left with Lu Pingan. They found a secluded spot, set up a formation, and allowed Lu Pingan to recuperate before heading to the central area. Alas, such flood dragons are beyond us loose cultivators to befriend. Simply having acquainted with them is already great luck. Old Taoist Kong watched the two leave and sighed with a bit of regret to his grandson. He had thought of befriending them to help his grandson. But now he knew that they were completely unmatched. SEA the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Unless he and his grandson were strong enough and daring enough to go with them to the center and then come out alive. Grandfather, rest assured, I will surely break through to the Foundation establishment in the future. I won't disappoint you. Young Kong took a deep breath, speaking earnestly. He knew his grandfather was striving so hard at his age entirely for him. Otherwise, he could comfortably serve as a visiting noble servant in a small family based on his skills, enjoying his later years. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 955. Purple Shadow Mountain, Golden Bodhi Date. Outside the Purple Shadow secret realm. The expression of a nascent soul immortal from the spirit-taming sect suddenly turned grim. Whenever they sent disciples to the Purple Shadow secret realm for training, they would bring along their soul plates to confirm any deaths within the realm. After all, these disciples were not all unparalleled geniuses, but each could be considered outstanding. If there was a widespread occurrence of death, it would suggest a special situation had arisen, and they would have to take measures to terminate the venture into the secret realm. Right now, although there hadn't been a mass fatality just now, 3 soul plates in his storage bag had shattered at around the same time. Such an incident was extremely rare. The deaths of 3 disciples at almost the same time suggested a high probability they encountered danger together. Now should not yet be the time to reach the central area. How could? And among these 3 soul plates, this Tuoba Lai I remember has divine power, strength out of the ordinary. The face of the nascent soul immortal from the spirit-taming sect was grave. What is it, Black Wind Immortal? Could it be that a disciple of your sect encountered some accidents in the secret realm? The nearby Qingyun sect immortal, stroking his beard, said with a smile. Humph, this immortal merely thought of some matters. The spirit-taming sect immortal stood with his hands behind his back, speaking without any niceties. Though the Purple Shadow secret realm was merely a training ground, it still held some competitive significance for the 4 great immortal sects. Therefore, even if his own disciples had just died, he wouldn't admit it for fear of losing face. After all, it was just 3 disciples. The final outcome depended on who would have the last laugh. Oh, since we're idly waiting, Black Wind Immortal, would you be interested in making a bet? The Qingyun sect immortal said with an unchanged smile. At their level, heavenly and earthly treasures of use were very rare and difficult to purchase with spirit stones. So they often bartered or traded for them. Seeing an opportunity now, he naturally thought of securing some benefit through this method. Since Immortal Li is interested, this immortal will naturally oblige. The spirit-taming sect immortal said. There's a saying, one may lose but should never lose face. If he were to refuse, it would appear as though he were afraid of the opponent. Moreover, he had some confidence in his own disciples. After all, the disciples of the spirit-taming sect were battle-hardened, incomparable to those from Qingyun and Luoxia sects. The recent 3 likely encountered some unforeseen circumstances. I wonder how Pingan, Chuanjin and Qingshan are doing right now. Sir the Nell Fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Changxing sat cross-legged at a distance, his expression very calm. With the Lu family genealogy, he was clearly aware of his children's life and death status. He couldn't help but feel a bit worried seeing the occasional Foundation establishment cultivator's expression suddenly change drastically. However, seeing the calm and composed expression of the Foundation establishment cultivators from Golden Dragon Ridge, he guessed that Lu Chuanjin hadn't run into a disciple of the Jin family. This made Lu Changxing think that he could judge his son's situation through the expressions of those from the Jin family. In the Purple Shadow secret realm, within a dense forest. This person really had a backup plan? Lu Chuanjin was sorting through the storage bags he had obtained and couldn't help but click his tongue in wonder upon seeing a talisman treasure inside Tuoba Lai's storage bag. However, this was also because the person was too arrogant, and Lu Pinggan's combat power was surprisingly formidable. Under normal circumstances, who would have thought that an energy-refining cultivator could be so fierce in battle? Lu Chuanjin had once participated in the battle at White Tiger Mountain and was aware of the strength of Foundation establishment. Lu Pinggan's punch was not inferior to that of his Uncle Li's offensive moves, even possibly surpassing them. In such a fleeting moment, the opponent had no chance to respond at all. Unless the person alongside the woman had defended with full power from the start or deployed the talisman treasure, it would have been a dead end all the same. But how could someone as unbending and unruly as Tuoba Lai confront someone with full force right from the beginning? This served as a reminder to Lu Chuanjin not to underestimate anyone in the world. With the outcome of life and death undecided, one can never truly know the strength of an opponent. Just like his sister Lu Wangshu, who had just come of age. A 5th-level energy-refining cultivator, yet she was able to produce dozens of talismans, including 2nd-rank talismans, and set up a talisman formation. Had one underestimated and belittled her, even a peak energy-refining cultivator might have died at her hands. Hiss, my family situation seems a bit too astonishing, doesn't it? At that moment, Lu Chuanjin suddenly realized that his family situation seemed a bit exaggerated. Whether it was the brother beside him, his brother Lu Qingshan who had recently returned home, or his sister Lu Wangshu who had just reached adulthood, any one of them could be called a genius. Placed in any other Foundation establishment family, each would be considered a top-tier seed that could lead the family to greater heights. Yet his own family had 3 such individuals in just a few years. If it weren't for his encounter with his uncle, he wouldn't be able to hold a candle to the 3 of them. Plus, he remembered there were a few siblings at home with quite rapid cultivation speeds who hadn't participated in the family spirit testing ceremony at the age of 6. Hiss, Lu Quanzhen's eyes showed a thoughtful expression. He shook his head, not thinking further, and finished sorting through the 13 storage bags he had collected. There weren't many spirit stones inside, totaling less than 1,000 in all. But there were 33 magic artifacts. 6 middle grade, 19 high quality, and 8 top grade magic artifacts. It just goes to show that everyone entering the Purple Shadow secret realm would use their spirit stones to purchase magic artifacts, elixir medicines, talismans, and so on. Besides the magic artifacts, other gains were mainly spiritual herbs and medicines. Lu Chuanzhen made a rough estimate. The gains from slaying these 3 individuals amounted to roughly 20 to 30,000 spirit stones. Phew. At that moment, Lu Pingan opened his eyes and exhaled a breath of turbid energy. He was only grappling with the shock to his vitality, and with the use of elixir medicines, it wouldn't take long for him to recover. Big brother, I just sorted through these storage bags. You can make use of these magic artifacts. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 956, Purple Shadow Mountain, Golden Bodhi Date. Lu Chuanzhen spoke out. Okay Chuanzhen, you've worked hard. Lu Pingan glanced at him and said with a smile. When he took over the magic artifact he asked, are these few magic artifacts just taken from the disciples of the spirit taming sect? Hehe, don't worry brother, they are not from the 3 spirit taming sect cultivators just now. Lu Chuanzhen laughed lightly, knowing that Lu Pingan was concerned that the magic artifacts might bring trouble. He had naturally considered this aspect a long time ago. Hearing this, Lu Pingan then put on a pair of silver-lined black boots, wore a magic bracelet on his hand, and hung a jade pendant on his waist. Immediately, the 2 brothers rose into the air with their artifacts and observed their rough location. Seeing a purple ring-shaped mountain peak in the distance, shrouded in mist and reaching straight into the clouds, they knew that this direction led to the central area of the Purple Shadow secret realm, the Purple Shadow Mountain. The 2 brothers immediately headed in that direction. Meanwhile, in the secret realm, many family disciples had gathered together or formed alliances with others, baring their fangs and engaging in a massive cleanse against solitary loose cultivators. This situation grew more severe the closer one got to the central region, with killings becoming increasingly frequent. Occasionally, when cultivators from the immortal sects, family disciples, or powerful loose cultivators encountered one another, they would tacitly pass by without conflict, or keep it limited to minor skirmishes. After all, it wasn't time for them to engage in deadly struggles over treasures yet. Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanzhen, the 2 brothers, were also among the solitary loose cultivators. But they were different from other opportunistic cultivators who came to try their luck in the chaos in hopes of striking it big. The 2 belonged to the top of the food chain among cultivators in this secret realm. As they traveled, whenever they encountered a cultivator with malicious intentions, Lu Chuanzhen would show no mercy and strike to kill without hesitation. Although Lu Pingan was reluctant to kill indiscriminately, he knew that this was the norm upon entering a secret realm. If there were few enemies he would support his brother from the rear. But if there were many, the brothers would join forces, aiming for quick and decisive battles. Along the way the strength of the 2 brothers was formidable, yielding plentiful rewards so that Lu Pingan even had an extra bundle on his shoulder. This bundle was full of storage bags. After all, storage bags couldn't be put into other storage bags. Discarding so many storage bags would be too wasteful. Thus, Lu Pingan wrapped them up with a magical robe and carried them on his shoulder. In this manner, after several days of travel, the 2 were finally able to clearly see the ring-shaped mountain peak ahead. The mountain soared into the clouds, thousands of feet high, with steep terrain, sheer cliffs and precipices, covered with bizarre rocks and ancient trees towering into the sky, all shrouded in rolling purple mist, hazy and obscure. Heavenly spirit fruits and other rare and exotic herbs, heavenly and earthly treasures, were all within this Purple Shadow Mountain. Big brother, this Purple Shadow Mountain is blocked by mist that affects the mental spirit and consciousness. You should wear the spiritual armor to prevent accidents, said Lu Chuanzhen to Lu Pingan. The mist of Purple Shadow Mountain was very thick. Once inside, even cultivators could easily become lost and needed to explore step by step carefully. Moreover, the demon beasts of the Purple Shadow secret realm were mainly concentrated in this Purple Shadow Mountain. A moment of carelessness could result in a sudden attack, catching one completely off guard. Lu Pingan had previously thought the spiritual armor was too ostentatious, so he only wore a simple green vestment robe. Hearing Lu Quanzhen's words now, he nodded and replied, "Okay. This suit of spiritual armor was obtained from White Tiger Mountain and was given to Lu Chuanzhen by Lu Changxing. It was dark gold all over with elegant lines, a cold metallic luster, and a pair of dark gold battle boots. With his tall and imposing stature, Lu Pingan, now clad in dark gold armor, looked like a mighty general, possessing an air of dominance. "This suit of spiritual armor does indeed suit you very well, big brother," said Lu Chuanzhen. "Hee hee." Lu Pingan simply grinned and touched the spiritual armor, feeling quite fond of it. Indeed, it was an excellent piece of armor, but its appearance was too conspicuous, making it easy to attract attention wherever one went. The two arrived at the foot of Purple Shadow Mountain, and not far away a team of 5 people also approached. But both parties merely glanced at each other before climbing the mountain from different directions. After all, it was quite an achievement to have reached the foot of the mountain at this time. Without conflicting interests, there was no need to waste mana fighting a life-and-death battle. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Just as they began ascending the mountain, suddenly, a number of inch-long shadows streaked through the lush jungle, coming at them with extreme speed. "Be careful." Lu Pingan's expression darkened, his blood and energy roared within as his hands clenched into fists and he struck out fiercely, causing the dark gold armor to shine with dazzling brilliance. Bang bang bang. The shadows burst open one after another, scattering black blood that caused the vegetation on the ground to corrode and wither. "Big brother, are you okay?" Lu Chuanzhen recognized them as black blood snakes, which were not very powerful, but their blood contained lethal poison. "I'm fine," Lu Pingan said with a laugh, his fists radiating treasure light and unaffected by the corrosive blood of the black blood snakes. His 100 refinements treasure body art had rendered his body akin to a spiritual artifact. CTH Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Moreover, ever since the entry of 2 poisonous creatures into his body, increasing his poison resistance significantly after his treasure body technique broke through to the 5th layer. Saying that he was impervious to all poisons was no exaggeration. Tisk. Lu Chuanzhen clicked his tongue with a hint of admiration, finding the body refinement technique to be incredibly domineering and well-suited for exploring secret realms. Had it been an ordinary energy refining cultivator or himself, who had come into contact with the black blood snake's blood, they would likely have needed to deal with the wound immediately, then take a detoxification pill to expel the poison and heal. The two did not linger and quickly left the site. There were many demon beasts in Purple Shadow Mountain, and once the smell of blood spread, it could easily attract beasts with a keen sense of smell. If they fought with demon beasts, they might attract the attention of other cultivators with harmful intentions. It must be said that there were indeed many demon beasts in Purple Shadow Mountain. After traveling for several hours, the two hadn't gathered much precious spiritual medicine, but they had already encountered 5 or 6 waves of demon beasts. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 957. Purple Shadow Mountain, Golden Bodhi Date. Throughout, they also heard many sounds of demon beasts fighting. Roar. Suddenly, a tremendous roar came from the side, and they saw a gray giant ape charging towards Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanzhen. It moved quickly with long arms, pouncing directly with its fingers like sharp iron hooks. Lu Pingan's fist shone with a faint golden luster as he struck forward. Boom. Fist and claw collided, sounding like metal striking metal, extremely harsh to the ears. The gray giant ape instantly let out a pained wail, flew backward, its nails broken, its arms spasming. What kind of demon beast is this, with such an extraordinary physical body? Lu Chuanzhen looked somewhat astonished. Through their time together, he had come to deeply understand the strength of his elder brother's physical body. Literally a humanoid demon beast. No, more like a fierce beast among demon beasts. Even cultivators knew not to let Lu Pingan get close. But demon beasts were always eager to charge head-on. So facing this kind, Lu Pingan usually ended the fight with just 1 or 2 punches. Like this giant ape, to suffer only arm spasms from one of Lu Pingan's punches, without even fracturing bones, was quite impressive. Roar. The gray giant ape let out a roar of agony, clenching its fist and charging at Lu Pingan again, its fist gleaming with a black gold sheen. Bang. Lu Pingan met it with a massively powerful counterstrike. On this punch, the giant ape screamed in pain, its fist torn apart, its arms' bones shattered, oozing black blood. It now looked terrified and afraid in its eyes, and immediately began to flee in a frenzy. Elder brother chase. Lu Chuanzhen immediately said. Powerful demon beasts like this often possessed fortunes. After all, not only cultivators consume spiritual medicines and herbs, but demon beasts do the same. This giant ape was clearly extraordinary, obviously having some fortune on its side. If they could find its lair, there must be certain rewards. In an instant, both men chased after the giant ape. The giant ape was extremely fast, leaping 100 steps through the air in one bound. If not for Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjin being extraordinary themselves, they might not have been able to catch up at all. Although Lu Pingan was capable of overtaking and killing it, upon hearing Lu Quanzhen's words, he held back and pursued doggedly. Moments later, they arrived at a cliff steep. They saw the agile silhouette of the giant ape leap, jumping directly off the cliff, disappearing without a trace. Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjin noticed a stone cave at the bottom of the cliff, which likely was the giant ape's nest. After exchanging a glance, they immediately activated their cultivation techniques, creating a protective aura around them, and entered the stone cave. Illusion Heart Grass. Just at the entrance of the cave, Lu Chuanjin spotted some dimly misty herbs, crystal clear and emitting a strong fragrance. This was one of the main auxiliary ingredients for the Foundation Establishment elixir, very valuable. And here they discovered more than 10 of them. Seeing this, Lu Pingan also couldn't help but lick his lips, his face showing delight. So much spirit grass could easily be worth tens of thousands of spirit stones. However, the two didn't immediately pick the illusion heart grass but instead rushed deeper into the cave. This is the golden Bodhi date? The two reached the depths of the cave and immediately saw the gray giant ape approach a gold-colored tree, half a meter tall, about to pick and eat the dates from it. Seeing the two pursuing it, the gray giant ape, after swallowing a fruit, glared fiercely and charged towards Lu Quan. It was because it had always been hit by Lu Pingan and was somewhat afraid. Facing this situation, Lu Pingan took a step forward. His chest braced against 2 punches from the giant ape, causing sparks to fly from the spiritual armor, clanging with each impact, and then his fist, shining with a golden light, gathered strength and erupted. Bang! That punch directly blasted into the giant ape's skull, exploding its head like a watermelon, splattering brains and blood. After a cleansing technique cleared away the gore, Lu Pingan, his face full of joy, turned to the small tree beside the ape's corpse. Golden Bodhi date. The small tree had several branches and was full of golden leaves, each bearing yellow dates the size of thumbs. These golden Bodhi dates were one of the spiritual medicines that must be traded with the 4 great immortal sects. The specific uses Lu Pingan did not know. He had only seen this golden date on the list, very precious. Quan, what are these golden Bodhi dates used for? He asked his brother. I'm not too sure, I only know that if you have injuries, the golden Bodhi date can heal them. If not, it can purify the physical body and improve one's cultivation level. This gray giant ape has such strength, it must have consumed these golden Bodhi dates. Lu Quan shook his head, not knowing the uses of the golden Bodhi dates. After all, the uses of most spiritual medicines and elixir recipes are forbidden secrets, seldom revealed. With a somewhat regretful look, he said, but these golden Bodhi dates don't seem to be mature yet. Indeed, it's a pity. Lu Pingan nodded in disappointment, then grinned. However, Dad said that for such rare spiritual plants, one can uproot them and bring them home. It'll be hard to cultivate and keep this golden Bodhi date tree alive at home. Lu Quan shook his head. As they spoke, he picked a golden Bodhi date, carefully examined it in his hand for a moment, and then tentatively bit a piece of the fruit to taste. Although such rare spiritual medicines must be traded with the great immortal sects, Sarch * the Nell Fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. It wasn't stipulated that they couldn't consume the spiritual medicine themselves within the secret realm. Given the golden Bodhi date's effect on improving cultivation, he naturally wanted to see how effective it was. After all, while submitting spiritual medicines yielded many spirit stones, there was nothing like improving oneself. Hiss. Lu Quan had just eaten a bit of the fruit when his body suddenly trembled violently, a powerful and overwhelming energy surging through his limbs and body. Quan? Lu Pingan immediately expressed his concern. 5 elements Kunping technique. Lu Quan promptly sat down, channeling his cultivation technique to refine this energy, feeling it continuously flow within his body, slowly refining his muscles and increasing his cultivation and magical power. This golden Bodhi date's effect is so domineering. If I hadn't consumed the dragon scale fruit and practiced the 5 elements Kunping technique, it would be difficult to refine this for an ordinary energy refining cultivator, Lu Quan muttered in his heart. He could feel that not only had his cultivation level slightly increased, but his physical body had also undergone a wondrous purification. Indeed, the golden Bodhi date, being one of the spiritual medicines that must be submitted, truly was extraordinary. He immediately said to Lu Pingan, "Big brother, the golden Bodhi date can purify the physical body. You should try consuming more, it will be beneficial for you." Aren't we supposed to submit these? Lu Pingan paused, feeling it would be a waste to eat it himself. One reason was that submitting the golden Bodhi dates would yield a good amount of spirit stones. Another was that the books mentioned that consuming heavenly spirit medicine directly is a waste, less than 1/3 as effective as formulated elixir medicines. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 958, Heavenly Spirit Fruit, Go All Out. These golden Bodhi dates are not yet ripe, and there's not much profit in turning them over to the sect. We've already gained a lot this trip, around 40 to 50,000 spirit stones. We're not short on such items, it's better to improve ourselves. Lu Chuanjin knew his elder brother was of a thrifty nature and said with a smile, "Ah, we gained that many spirit stones?" Lu Pingan expressed his amazement. Although he knew that they had reaped quite a bounty, he had not yet accounted for it specifically. The figure took him by surprise. After all, before coming to the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, his entire fortune was just over 100 spirit stones. In order to expedite his journey, he had spent 38 spirit stones to purchase a spirit steed, which had died en route, causing him grief for quite some time. That's right, so Big Brother need not worry about waste. Moreover, there's still much to explore in the secret realm. If you improve your strength now, you can harvest even more later. Lu Chuanjin advised, handing over 2 golden Bodhi dates to Lu Pingan. This golden Bodhi date has a very domineering medicinal effect. Big brother, just be a little careful. Although the other's physical body was extraordinary, he still cared to give a reminder. Afterward, he bit off a piece of the golden Bodhi date in his hand and slowly refined it. All right. Upon hearing this, Lu Pingan didn't fuss and bit off half a golden Bodhi date. The fruit flesh melted upon entering his mouth. It was likely not fully ripe yet, so there was a strong bitter taste. However, this mixture of sour and bitter sweetness immediately transformed into an overwhelming and domineering power surging towards his limbs and bones. Although the force was domineering, Lu Pingan's body had indeed undergone 100 refinements. He quickly cycled through the 100 refinements treasure body art to refine this medicinal power. After a long time, Lu Pingan managed to refine the medicinal power of half a golden Bodhi date, slightly furrowed his brow, and felt the condition of his physical body. During the baptism process just now, he faintly sensed that the medicinal power seemed to penetrate into the flesh and marrow of the bones. After pondering for a moment, looking at the 1.5 golden Bodhi dates in his hand, he directly swallowed them. Boom! Instantaneously, Lu Pingan felt as if struck by lightning. The golden Bodhi date transformed into an overwhelming, domineering force raging through his flesh, meridians, limbs, and bones. His heart thumped vigorously, his blood roared like a river, and his internal organs resounded like a gong. Lu Chuanjin opened his eyes immediately upon hearing this commotion. Seeing his big brother's face contorted with pain and his body like a blazing furnace, robust vitality and might burst forth from within, ferocious and pressing. What's happening? Lu Chuanjin was astonished. How had his brother become like this in the blink of an eye? He immediately noticed that the golden Bodhi date in Lu Pingan's hand had been eaten, and his expression changed slightly as he guessed what happened. The medicinal power of the golden Bodhi date was extremely domineering. He had only consumed 1/3 of one. Eating too much could lead to an overbearing effect, making it hard to refine and possibly damaging oneself. Now Lu Pingan had eaten 2 golden Bodhi dates right away. However, Lu Chuanjin knew his big brother's character was steady and wouldn't act rashly. He immediately acted as a protector and quietly observed Lu Pingan's condition. After a long while, Lu Pingan's surging vitality gradually retracted. He opened his eyes, exhaled a breath of turbid energy, and wiped the sweat from his forehead. Big brother, what was that? Lu Chuanjin asked with concern. Chuanjin, during the baptism of the physical body just now, I felt that the golden Bodhi date could penetrate the bones and marrow, eliminating impurities from the flesh and bones, achieving a true marrow cleansing transformation. But the medicinal effect of half a golden Bodhi date wasn't enough, so I just tried it out. If one consumes multiple dates at once, and the medicinal power is sufficient, then it can penetrate into the flesh and marrow. Lu Pingan said with a smile on his face. Because he practiced martial arts and body refinement constantly, he had a nuanced control over his physical body. After consuming half a golden Bodhi date, he had keenly sensed part of its effects, so he attempted to swallow a date and a half. CTH Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Following the baptism, the effect was indeed as he had surmised, with advances in both meridians and bones as well as internal organs. Moreover, it also stimulated the condensing of magical treasures, which were used to enhance the 100 refinements treasure body art. Of course, he dared to do this because he was confident. By using the domineering medicinal power to enter the flesh and marrow, thus achieving a true marrow-cleansing transformation, Lu Chuanzhen suddenly understood the principle. But he knew that this process was very painful and dangerous. If one wasn't careful enough to withstand the refining of such formidable medicinal power, their meridians and bones might shatter due to the violent medicinal force. They'll try it. Lu Chuanzhen, looking at the remaining more than half of the golden Bodhi date in his hand, swallowed it. In an instant, the violent medicinal power forced him to groan in pain, his facial features twisted. Bang, bang, pain. As Lu Pingan had said, the domineering medicinal power would penetrate deep into the flesh and bones. But similarly, it was excruciating. He swiftly endured the pain and circulated the 5 elements Kunping technique to refine the medicinal power. Yet, the surging and violent medicinal power still made his body tremble as if undergoing spasms. After a moment, the medicinal power gradually subsided. After a long time, Lu Chuanzhen opened his eyes to assess his condition. The primary effect seemed to be the advancement of his cultivation level, and there was some effect on the refinement of the physical body, but it wasn't significant. Is it that the medicinal power is insufficient, or because I had previously consumed the dragon scale fruit? Lu Chuanzhen frowned slightly and pondered. Years ago, his uncle Chu Chang'e returned and had given him 2 dragon scale fruits. Those 2 dragon scale fruits had caused his entire being, inside and out, to undergo 2 transformative baptisms like rebirths, establishing a robust foundation. He looked towards Lu Pingan and said, "Big brother, I had a chance earlier, and this golden Bodhi date doesn't have much effect on me. You should consume them all." Continuing to consume golden Bodhi dates might be effective, but the results would be mediocre. Besides, if he consumed an entire golden Bodhi date outright, he might need a long time to recuperate before he could consume a second one. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 959, Heavenly Spirit Fruit, Go All Out. The situation was clearly not suitable now. It's okay, I don't need so much. Lu Pingan thought the other was offering it to him, so he quickly waved his hands. Lu Chuanzhen naturally saw the implication and affirmed that he really did not need them, as he had consumed such heavenly and earthly treasures in earlier years. Moreover, his physical body was only average and consuming too much medicine might be too fierce, possibly requiring healing. Hearing this, Lu Pingan finally nodded, plucked 3 golden Bodhi dates from the nearby tree and swallowed them whole. Lu Chuanzhen saw Lu Pingan's muscles swell and his bones clank, but he only grunted in pain. He couldn't help but feel impressed by his brother's tough character. He went to a cave nearby, carefully picked 13 illusion heart grasses, and put them into the spirit plant bag. This spirit plant bag was an exquisite one prepared in advance by Lu Changsheng. It could maintain the spirit and activity of spiritual herbs and medicines. Otherwise, such spirit grass would need to be stored in a special jade box. Otherwise, their spirit would gradually deteriorate. Lu Chuanzhen then took an array device from his storage bag and set it up at the entrance of the cave. Although the cave was hard to find, one could never be too careful. After completing this, he calmly waited for Lu Pingan to refine all the golden Bodhi dates. At this moment, in a valley to the southeast of Purple Shadow Mountain, 2 factions were in a deadlock over 3 spirit flowers about half a meter tall, with glowing green bodies and thick stems, exuding a rich scent of life. The flowers proudly stood alone with fist-sized jade-green fruits inside them, shimmering with a purple luster, and releasing a refreshing fragrance. This flower is called the Heavenly Spirit Flower, and the fruit it bore was the main ingredient for the Foundation Establishment Elixir, known as the Heavenly Spirit Fruit. The Thunderhorn Lion was slain by the 4 of us. The Heavenly Spirit Fruit should rightfully belong to us. For the sake of Luoxia sect's face, we are willing to concede 1 fruit, which is already a step back. Don't be too greedy. A 40-something blue-robed man wielding a knife and holding a magic pearl spoke. He and 4 others, armed with magic artifacts, formed a formation and faced 3 Wuxia sect disciples ahead. Humph, seeing that the Thunderhorn lion was killed by you, giving you 1 fruit is already generous of us. Don't reject the wine only to be forced to drink the penalties. Wuxia sect coldly replied. While they only had 3 people, the trio faced down 5, their aura even overpowering the opposition. Heavenly spirit fruit? Just then a voice came from not far. Moments later, a youth in a white golden robe with sword-like eyebrows, handsome features, and an upright posture approached. He looked ahead at the standoff. Not far from the 2 parties, a purple lion lay in pieces, its blood mingling to form pools. Near the pool of blood, there were 3 glowing green spirit flowers about half a meter tall, bearing fruits. Indeed, they are heavenly spirit fruits. Since there are 3 and you can't divide them equally, me taking 1 would be just right. This youth was none other than Lu Qingshan. He looked at the standoff between the 2 parties, his expression indifferent, and spoke lightly. These calm words, plain to the ears of the 7 individuals present, seemed domineering and unquestionable. Lu Qingshan. 3 from Wuxia sect immediately recognized Lu Qingshan, remembering when he introduced himself while Tianyuan True Immortal visited with disciples from the 4 great immortal sects. Lu Qingshan, you are being too overbearing, wanting to take 1 heavenly spirit fruit for yourself. Sar the Nellfire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. A Wuxia sect disciple spoke out. As Lu Qingshan was a disciple of a nascent soul immortal, they naturally didn't dare underestimate him, but to lightly declare taking a heavenly spirit fruit, they felt utterly disregarded. Moreover, their elders had instructed them to not lose face against this Lu Qingshan. Swoosh. The response was a dazzling sword light. Boom. This Wuxia sect disciple immediately unleashed a magical shield to block the sword light. Under the assault of the sword light, the shield's spiritual light dimmed, causing him to stagger back several steps. Do you have an objection? Lu Qingshan's expression turned frosty, revealing a sharp edge as his magical sword hummed threateningly in his hand, as if brewing some terrifying sword intent. Seeing this, the 5 clan cultivators nearby were taken aback. They hadn't expected Lu Qingshan to be so overbearing, attacking the 3 from Wuxia sect by himself. Moreover, with just a casual sword he forced 1 person back, showing terrifying strength that was not at their level at all. Such an individual must be a true genius of the immortal sects, a nascent soul seed. They exchanged glances and immediately said, if this Taoist wants 1 heavenly spirit fruit, the 5 of us have no objections. Given the situation, if the standoff continued and attracted others, it wouldn't end well for any of them. It was better to show goodwill and voluntarily give up a fruit. Upon hearing this, the 3 from Wuxia sect remained silent. From just that simple sword strike they recognized Lu Qingshan's astonishing strength. If a real fight ensued, neither side would benefit. Thus, the 5 closest to the heavenly spirit flower picked 1 fruit, then slowly retreated and left. Seeing this, the Wuxia sect disciples also snorted coldly, grabbed a spirit fruit and left. Not even taking the flowers makes it easier for me. Lu Qingshan saw both parties take the fruits but leave the flowers. He chuckled. He immediately uprooted the 3 heavenly spirit flowers and placed them in a spirit plant bag. After all, his father had told him that when encountering rare spiritual medicines, one should take them roots and all, especially the heavenly spirit flowers. Although heavenly spirit flowers are hard to grow and fruit in the outside world, since his father had said so, he naturally took it along without hesitation. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 960, Heavenly Spirit Fruit, Go All Out. Perhaps his own father really had the ability to cultivate the heavenly spirit fruit. After finishing his task, Lu Qingshan took out a palm-sized, endearing golden hamster from his sleeve, gently massaged it, and signaled it to continue. This golden hamster was none other than the earth spirit mouse that Lu Changxing had given to his daughter, Lu Qingzhu, in his early years. Now coming to the Purple Shadow secret realm, Lu Qingshan naturally brought this earth spirit mouse with him. After all, second-order spiritual beasts couldn't enter the secret realm, but there was no problem with first-order ones. And his journey so far had been exceedingly fruitful, in part because he simply went wherever there was a disturbance. On the other hand, it was due to this earth spirit mouse's sensitivity to heavenly and earthly treasures. Indeed, treasure-seeking mice like the earth spirit mouse were like a fish in water within the secret realm. **The novel, F. Ire. at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. According to records, there is a hidden cave here with a golden Bodhi date tree. At this moment, 4 individuals clad in beast-taming Sioux family garments arrived near a cliff face. The 4 great immortal sects and several nascent soul family forces would usually enter the Purple Shadow secret realm every time it opened and always came away with gains. Hence, for the common loose cultivators and clan cultivators, the mysterious and dangerous Purple Shadow secret realm was quite familiar. They not only had rough maps but also knew about the locations that produce spiritual medicine. Every disciple from the immortal sects and clan cultivators who entered the secret realm would try to visit these places in hopes of finding something valuable. The 4 people searched around the cliff. However, after searching for a long time, they didn't find the hidden cave mentioned in the records. Then one of the female cultivators patted her spiritual pet bag and released a silver ferret. Families like the beast-taming Sioux family, which specialized in beast taming, would naturally breed a number of demon beasts adept at treasure hunting. This silver ferret was one such demon beast. The female cultivator took out a few feeding spirit pills from her storage bag, fed the silver ferret, stroked its small head, and then sent it off to search. Before long, the ferret started giggling, pointing its front paw toward the cliff ahead. Ha! The 4 people gazed at the cliff before them, exchanged glances and seemed puzzled. One of them shot a flame bullet technique directly at the cliff. The cliff didn't explode with a bang upon facing the flame bullet, but merely rippled, dissolving the flame bullet. Formation. It turns out someone reached here first and set up an illusory formation. No wonder we've been searching for so long and haven't found it. Whoever set up the formation must have seen the golden Bodhi date tree and planned to wait until the secret realm closed to leave. Upon witnessing this, the 4 of them immediately understood the situation. Looking at the cliff in front of them, they all took out their magic artifacts, released their spiritual beasts and prepared to break the formation. After all, disciples entering the secret realm from the great immortal sects and the children of great families would try their best to find heavenly and earthly treasures. Setting up a formation like this and hiding in a cave would most likely belong to a loose cultivator or a junior member of a smaller family. Facing such loose cultivators or junior family members, they were naturally fearless. Seems it has been discovered after all. Inside the cave, Lu Chuanjin let out a soft sigh. He had heard the commotion outside just now and knew someone had found the place. But his elder brother, Lu Pingon, was still refining the golden Bodhi date, so he stayed silent, hoping to mislead them with the formation. But after the recent flame bullet technique and seeing the attitude of the people outside, he knew a confrontation was imminent. Beast-taming Sioux family. Lu Chuanjin, looking through the formation, recognized the clothes of the 4 people outside, knowing their identities and that they were formidable. Person inside, I'm going to count to 3, come out now. At that moment, a voice from outside rang out. Hearing this voice, Lu Quanzhen's eyes flashed coldly. He glanced at Lu Pingon deep in the cave and spoke in a calm tone, "Big brother, someone's coming. I'll go and send them away." At this point, Lu Pingon had almost completed the refinement of the more than 20 golden Bodhi dates and was at a critical juncture. His heart was thumping vigorously, his blood rushing forth torrentially, organs chiming incessantly, creating an invisible pressure. His entire being resembled a long brewing volcano on the verge of eruption, a burst dam, an endless brilliant treasure light flowing across his Bodhi's surface, seemingly forming some sort of mysterious pattern that emitted an overwhelming aura. After finishing his statement, Lu Chuanjin released a second-rank puppet from his storage bag and hid it on the side. Then he placed a talisman treasure in his sleeve and held 2 second-rank talismans in his hands as he stepped out of the cave. After all, the formation was set up with a simple array device. At best, it could withstand a few assaults from peak of chi refinement cultivators and certainly couldn't hold against the onslaught of the 4 people present. If the 4 of them decided to bombard the cave wildly, it would indeed affect Lu Pingon. Wait a moment, fellow Taoists. Lu Chuanjin put on a somewhat panicked and rushed demeanor and shouted loudly towards the 4 people. He then continued, I merely wish to hide here. I don't know in what way I've offended the fellow Taoists. Hey, you know very well what offense you've committed. Hand over your storage bag now and leave this place and well spare your life. The 4 people and their 4 beasts were all staring at Lu Chuanjin, exuding a crushing presence. One of them, a middle-aged man in his 30s, stood on a red bird high above and spoke with a commanding tone. Hearing these words, Lu Quanzhen's face showed a troubled expression and said, If the fellow Taoists want this cave, I will leave right now. Don't play dumb, hand over the storage bag or die. Another cultivator, surrounded by a green large snake, spoke coldly and domineeringly. In their words, the green large snake coldly locked its gaze on Lu Chuanjun, flicking its tongue as if ready to devour him. The four people and their four spiritual beasts, except for one of the female cultivators whose spiritual beast was a seemingly harmless silver ferret, all possessed formidable spiritual beasts. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 961, Heavenly Spirit Fruit, Go All Out. For this made Lu Chuanjun feel for the first time that beast-taming cultivators were very troublesome. Fine, am willing to hand over the storage bag. Lu Quanzhen's face showed a conflicted and frightened expression as he pretended to throw a storage bag. But in an instant, he activated a talisman he was holding in his left hand. Buzz buzz buzz, dull bites and symbols appeared in the void, rolling towards the four individuals. Second-grade lower-quality talisman, Shocking Spirit Talisman. It shocked and disrupted the others' mental spirits, inducing emotions such as alarm, panic, and fear. Lu Chuanjun used this Shocking Spirit Talisman, and immediately, the four individuals showed flaws in their mental spirits, slightly losing focus. Then he activated another second-grade lower-quality talisman in his hand, the Thunder Fire Talisman, and directed the Thunder Fire towards the female cultivator with a silver marten on her shoulder. This person's spiritual beast was a support type, indicating that her combat strength was likely somewhat inferior. He wanted to kill all four by himself, so he had to fight swiftly and decisively. Hoo. The Thunder Fire Talisman transformed into rolling purple thunderous flames, surging violently towards the four individuals. Be careful. These four were not simple either. The middle-aged man who spoke earlier seemed to have been prepared, or perhaps he possessed a magic artifact related to the spiritual realm, and quickly came to his senses. But in the blink of an eye, the Thunder Fire Talisman had already reached the female cultivator playing with the marten. Ah! A shrill scream rang out, and although this female cultivator had a magic artifact that automatically protected its master, faced with a second-rank talisman, she was instantly turned into charred remains. Hong Yu, the middle-aged man with anger burning in his eyes, said to Lu Chuanjun with murderous intent, "You're seeking death." During his speech, he took out a talisman from his bosom and used it, causing golden light to swirl around his body as he charged towards Lu Chuanjun. His underfoot spiritual beast Red Bird woke from the influence of the Shocking Spirit Talisman, let out a long cry and spat out rolling flames, the momentum fierce. The other two cultivators also quickly regained their composure, their expressions shocked and furious, filled with killing intent. The cultivator surrounded by a green snake brandished a long blade magic artifact, directly attacking Lu Chuanjun with both man and snake. The other individual conjured a beige bowl, rising into the air, emitting a beige light and pressing down towards Lu Chuanjun with suppressive force. Facing such an onslaught, Lu Chuanjun immediately retreated into the cave, relying on the formation to block for a moment. Just when the three were in a rage, launching furious attacks at the formation from within the cave, a second-rank puppet burst out, its body entirely of black gold, wielding a blade in one hand and a shield in the other, withstanding the heavy attacks and charging straight at them. Clang! The second-rank puppet's black gold war blade moved with the force of wind and thunder, chopping at the cultivator surrounded by the green snake, causing him to stagger back. The green snake around him hissed and, with a single chop, was bisected, blood splattering. Second-rank puppet? Seeing this, the Su family trio realized they had underestimated their enemy. They didn't expect a mere loose cultivator to not only possess a rare second-rank talisman but also a second-rank puppet. However, just as they were shocked and their faces turned grave, suddenly, a terrifying aura permeated the cave. Lu Chuanjun activated a talisman treasure in his hand, transforming it into a bronze spear, exuding soaring murderous energy. With a swoosh, it pierced through the air towards the snake-wrapped man. Facing this unexpected strike from the talisman treasure, even though the snake-wrapped man was prepared, his defenses were still broken. His chest to the back was punctured by the spear. The Novel Fire, net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The snake-wrapped man's face showed shock and disbelief as he looked at his pierced chest, his eyes full of angry reluctance. He wanted to say something but his chest was already torn open, blood spurting, directly costing him his life. Exine High. Run. Seeing this, the other two shouted in shock, turned around and fled, not daring to continue the fight. This motherfucker isn't a loose cultivator. One confrontation resulted in 2 second-rank talismans, followed by a second-rank puppet, and now a talisman treasure. Even if they were born into the beast-taming Sioux family, they could not possibly have such treatment. Only family young masters or nascent soul seed-level cultivators could have such treatment. Thinking of running away? Lu Quanzhen's eyes were filled with cold determination, not about to let the two escape. He remembered the beast-taming Sioux family had a total of 10 people, now there were only 4, most likely acting separately. Allowing someone to escape would surely bring trouble later on. Swoosh. Poochie. He multitasked, controlling the second-rank puppet and the talisman treasure, relentlessly attacking the Sioux family middle-aged man. Faced with such pincer attacks, even though the middle-aged man was extraordinary, he was hard-pressed to defend. Boom boom boom. The protective aura shattered in mere moments, then the bronze spear pierced through his body, his heart exploded and his life obliterated. Screech. The red bird cried mournfully, but the next moment, it was cleaved into 2 by the second-rank puppet, blood spraying the sky. Where are you going? Lu Chuanzhen saw the last runaway, promptly put away the talisman treasure, and deployed the divine ping technique, pursuing. This Sioux family cultivator was already scared out of his wits by Lu Chuanzhen. Seeing him approaching, he was terrified and immediately abandoned his own spiritual beast to delay Lu Chuanzhen, frenziedly fleeing. 5 elements Kunping technique. Lu Chuanzhen and the second-rank puppet together swiftly killed this spiritual beast. Blood-burning escape technique. He observed the rapidly disappearing Sioux family cultivator, face showing ruthlessness, both hands forming gesture incantations, resolutely deploying his secret life-saving technique, blood-burning escape technique. In the dense fog of the purple shadow mountain, once the opponent created some distance, it was possible to lose track. Moreover, one could encounter demon beasts or cultivators inside the mountain at any time, so he needed to end this quickly. Lu Quanzhen's strength and speed were already superior to his opponent. Now, fully deploying such a body-damaging secret technique, he instantly turned into a blood-colored rainbow, catching up with the opponent, and with a loud slap, a 5-colored torrent rolled, knocking the young man flying. Taoist, please? This person even tried to plead, but before he could finish speaking, a small 5-colored fish and the second-rank puppet came killing, penetrated the protective aura, and decapitated him. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 962. Crushing Defeat, Beast-Taming Sioux Family Annihilated. Lu Chuanzhen easily turned the corpse before him to ash, then picked up the magic artifact and storage bag and headed back to the cave by the original route. Upon seeing the spiritual beasts cut in half along the way, the fresh blood beside the cliff precipices, and the 2 bodies with pierced chests, dead with their eyes wide open, along with the mutilated remains of the spiritual beasts, he burned them all to ash, cleaning up thoroughly. Then he returned to the cave with a calm and natural expression. Chuanzhen? Lu Pingan, hearing the movement, opened his eyes, his face filled with pain. He had just heard the noises outside. But he was in the critical moment of refining the golden Bodhi dates and couldn't move, much less speak. It was just a few jumping clowns, they'd been taken care of. You don't have to worry, big brother, focus on your refining. Lu Chuanzhen said with a smile, his face showing a touch of paleness. The blood-burning escape technique consumed a lot of essence, blood and vitality. Even if he only used it for a moment, it had caused him a significant loss of vitality and essence blood, necessitating several months of recuperation. Okay. Lu Pingan saw his brother's pale face and felt a bit of guilt. But he couldn't afford to be distracted now, nodded, and continued to close his eyes, circulating the 100 refinements treasure body art to refine the golden Bodhi dates within his body. Boom boom boom. Lu Pingan sat cross-legged, motionless like a great sun furnace, his body roaring, permeated with a fierce and dominant aura. He had previously swallowed the last 5 golden Bodhi dates in one go, making the medicinal strength extremely violent and overbearing, causing his tall and sturdy body to tremor, and his flesh and bones seemed to show signs of cracking. However, within the potent medicinal strength of the golden Bodhi dates, there was a majestic and rich life force that could heal injuries, nourish the cracks and remodel the flesh and restore broken bones. Moreover, as the 100 refinements treasure body art was crazily circulated, the magic artifact axe embedded in his chest bone continuously surged out its origin force, integrating into his limbs and marrow. Although this process was painful and torturous, Lu Pingan could clearly see his own improvement. His cultivation level had only broken through from the 7th level energy refinement to the 8th level. However, his physical body had vastly improved, charging directly towards the 6th layer of the 100 refinements treasure body technique. And who knows how much time had passed. Boom. Suddenly, a tsunami-like sound erupted within Lu Pinggan's body, and his musculature shone with endless dazzling light, turning the cave golden. Is this a breakthrough? Lu Chuanjin, hearing the activity, opened his eyes, his face showing a look of surprise. Lu Pinggan remained seated cross-legged, his body glittering radiantly, a mighty and domineering aura rolling up and down with a golden luster, exerting an overwhelming pressure. This level of body refinement, even foundation establishment, would be nothing more. At this moment, Lu Chuanjin felt the air become heavy, somewhat difficult to breathe, and couldn't help but step outside the cave to wait. During this process, his mental spirit was tense, observing the situation on the cliff precipices, worried that others might come. And so, several hours passed and the golden light in the cave gradually faded. Lu Pinggan's muscular bodice golden luster slowly retracted and dissipated. Not long after, Lu Pinggan opened his eyes, his gaze brimming with divine light, his pupils flowing with a compelling golden sheen. Phew! Lu Pinggan let out a long breath of turbid energy, his eyes golden sheen introverted, dark and profound, shining brightly, his gaze piercing like torches. His body, cloaked in dark golden armor, emitted a zzz sound, burning off the impurities from his skin, turning into wisps of black smoke. After consuming 23 golden Bodhi dates, his cultivation level had broken through to the 8th level energy refinement. However, the advancement of cultivation level was only incidental. His real improvement came from the treasure body technique and the transformation of his flesh and bones. The 100 refinements treasure body art broke through from the 5th layer to the 6th layer. His meridians and bones became much more durable than before, granting his physical body and mana an increased upper limit. After all, only when the flesh, meridians and bones are durable can they withstand high-intensity bursts of strength and compressed mana. Congratulations, big brother. Lu Chuanjin congratulated Lu Pinggan. From the recent commotion, he saw that Lu Pinggan had gained many benefits from the golden Bodhi date tree. He thought to himself that the golden Bodhi date was indeed not an ordinary spiritual medicine, one that must be offered up as its effects were truly exceptional. Even so, it was only a body-refining cultivator like Lu Pinggan who could swallow and refine more than 20 golden Bodhi dates from the tree in a short period. Chuanjin, you've worked hard. Lu Pinggan stood up, dressed in dark golden armor, his imposing figure towering, his face sincere, his eyes reflecting some guilt and self-blame. Previously, in order to maximize the efficacy of the golden Bodhi dates and break through realms, he had put himself in a state where he couldn't move. If it weren't for Lu Chuanjin, if someone had come in, his situation would have been very dangerous. Big brother, you're too kind. Lu Chuanjin said with a smile. He had taken healing pills and his complexion no longer looked so pale. However, his appearance seemed somewhat worse and he still needed some time to fully recover. Chuanjin, not only did my cultivation level break through to the 8th level energy refinement, but my 100 refinements treasure body technique also broke through to the 6th layer. Leave the rest to me now. Lu Pinggan said with a firm voice. He roughly knew his combat strength and could ensure he handled the upcoming situations. The 100 refinements treasure body technique 6th layer. Lu Chuanjin inwardly thought it was as expected. When he was at the 5th layer, his big brother could almost end the fights with 1 or 2 punches. Now that he had broken through to the 6th layer, couldn't he just bulldoze through the secret realm? He narrowed his eyes, smiled and nodded, okay. Big brother, the people who came earlier were from the beast-taming Sioux family, though I have dealt with them all, we might still be discovered by the Sioux family, so it's not suitable to stay here for long. Search * the Nefire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Chuanjin said this. Although he had slain all 4 members of the Sioux family. But the Sioux family, being a nascent soul-level force, might have some means to locate them. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 963. Crumbling Beast-Taming Sioux Family Annihilated. After all, clan cultivators are different from immortal sects disciples. Disciples of immortal sects may form small groups at most, and if others die, they die. It's only because they happen to encounter this, and out of camaraderie they lend a hand and seek revenge. Otherwise, normally immortal sects disciples wouldn't waste time avenging their fellows. But clan disciples are different. They have blood ties and tend to be more united. Even if we don't mention the unity of family bonds, when a large family enters the secret realm and someone dies inside, the others must give a proper explanation to their family. Beast Taming Sioux family good? Lu Pingan nodded, aware that this family, being a nascent soul family, was not simple. He carefully shattered the ground and then dug up the golden Bodhi date tree, handing it to Lu Chuanjin. Lu Chuanjin took out a bottle of spiritual liquid from his storage bag, poured it over the golden Bodhi date tree, then placed it into the spirit plant bag. Ah! Just as Lu Chuanjin was about to retract the formation, both brothers paused, exchanged glances, hearing some noise coming from the cliff. A moment later, through the formation, Lu Chuanjin saw 5 figures moving down towards the cliff base, continuously heading downwards, seemingly in search of something. Identifying them by their attire and the spiritual beasts beside them, he immediately recognized them as members of the beast-taming Sioux family. It seems they came here after following some tokens. Lu Quanzhen's eyes narrowed slightly, revealing a hint of coldness as he roughly guessed what was happening. Sarch * The Oval Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Previously, after he killed 4 members of the Sioux family, he naturally wouldn't miss out on the spoils from their storage bags. In the storage bags, tokens and other suspicious items that couldn't be destroyed were all thrown off the cliff. Now looking at these people's movements, he guessed they were led here by the sensing of those tokens. But it seems like the beast-taming Sioux family knows about this cave. Lu Chuanjin recalled the previous 4 members of the Sioux family discovering the cave, seemingly purposefully, aware of the cave's location. Squinting, he looked to Lu Pingan and said, "Brother, these 5 are from the beast-taming Sioux family, likely here as a result of the tokens of those previously. Although by having the 5 individuals head to the base of the cliff, the 2 could escape without conflict. Who knows whether these people have other means to track down the 2 of them. Given this, it might be better to take the initiative and eliminate them all." Earlier, from the Sioux family members' storage bags, he gained quite a bounty, securing many precious spiritual medicines. Even their main target, the heavenly spirit fruit, resulted in 2. These 5 people, as cultivators from the beast-taming Sioux family, would undoubtedly yield substantial gains. Why slowly search for heavenly and earthly treasures when killing for loot is faster? As for taking lives as a form of pillage, Lu Chuanjin had no moral qualms. After all, in this world, if you don't rob, others will. If he didn't strive or rob, how would his family rise, and how would he achieve core formation within a century? After truly stepping onto the path of cultivation, he started to view these matters indifferently. Or rather, from the first time he killed in the mortal realm, he gradually became indifferent to life. As soon as he arrived in the mortal realm, he could grant life and death, controlling others' lives. With just a simple move, countless lives would perish, and he felt a certain change in his spirit. "Chuanjin, are you suggesting?" Lu Pingan was momentarily stunned, roughly guessing his brother's intention. "Rather than waiting for them to make a move, we should take the initiative." Lu Chuanjin, dressed in a black robe and with a slender figure, lacking a bit of color on his face which made him resemble a delicate scholar, spoke softly. Seeing his brother's narrow eyes and the smile on his face, Lu Pingan's heart shuddered slightly, and he spoke in a deep voice. "Okay, I'll handle them. Chuanjin, you support from the rear. These 5 are from the beast-taming Sioux family, all possessing spiritual beasts. Be careful, brother." Lu Chuanjin nodded with a smile. Although he was confident that the 2 of them could subdue the 5 from the Sioux family, even a lion uses full strength to catch a rabbit. "Rest assured." Lu Pingan nodded, knowing he needed to be swift and efficient. He stepped out of the cave, his eyes bright, looking towards the 5 figures descending towards the cliff base. Boom! Lu Pingan's inner energy circulated, his organs vibrated with a buzzing sound, like a dormant primordial fierce beast. His body glowed with a golden light, casting a cold metallic shine on his armor. Rumble! Following that, the rocks under his feet shattered, his tall form blasting out towards the cliff base, tearing through the layers of air, charging towards the 5. Ah! Roar, roar, roar. No good. Be careful. The 5 Sioux family members were all very alert. Coming here, following the token and seeing that another team had no news or movement, they realized something was off and came to investigate. "Who are you?" A middle-aged man around 40 years old shouted loudly. He was the leader of the Sioux family team. Seeing Lu Pingan with an overwhelming aura, which caused his spiritual beasts to howl in fear and sensing immense danger, his eyes filled with shock and disbelief. Seeing Lu Pingan coming closer, he dared not hesitate and shouted loudly, Battle formations, Black Dragon Shears. Instantly, the 5 formed a formation. This was a battle formation, allowing multiple energy refining cultivators to integrate their energies, combining offense and defense, greatly enhancing their combat power. The 5 organized themselves, their spiritual beasts encircling them, 2 of them performing gesture incantations, summoning magic artifacts to create a protective shield encapsulating them all. The other 3 each summoned a black long sword, a black long knife and black chains. These 3 artifacts, under their control, emitted black light, merging in the air into a scissor measuring a zhang in length. The scissors emitted a frightful cold black radiance, with a flood dragon flickering in and out of visibility, ferocious and terrifying, seemingly able to tear through anything, charging towards Lu Pingan. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 964. Crumbling Beast Taming Su Family Annihilated. Boom. Lu Pingan's body shot through the air like a meteor, muscles bulging as he fearlessly hurled his already raised right arm out to meet the approaching black shears, not dodging in the slightest. Idiot. To think you'd dare to catch our black dragon shears with your flesh and blood. Simply courting death. Truly body refining has turned his brain to mush. The 5 from the Su family saw Lu Pingan's action and all sneered, scoffed and looked on with disdain. But the next moment, a golden fist struck out, accompanied by a sound of dragon's roar and tiger's howl, clashing directly with the black shears. Clang! A heaven-shaking, earth-shattering metallic symphony erupted, sparks flying everywhere. The violent, powerful force burst forth from the center of the fist and the shears, violently spreading out, sending rocks and soil from the cliffs rolling down and turning into dust. This. How is this possible? He's actually clashing fists with the black dragon shears. The 5 members of the Su family shouted in alarm, their eyes filled with disbelief, horror, and shock. You should know their black dragon shears were no ordinary artifact. It was a combined spiritual artifact bestowed by the old patriarch of their family. Normally, it acted as 3 top-tier magic artifacts, but once combined, it qualified as a low-quality spiritual artifact. And it wasn't just any run-of-the-mill production line spiritual artifact. It was a top-grade spiritual artifact with power comparable to a middle-grade spiritual artifact. The 5 of them wielding these black dragon shears could engage in battle even with Foundation establishment cultivators. But now, Lu Pingan was confronting their low-quality spiritual artifact, the black dragon shears, with his fists. Clang clang clang. Lu Pingan's fists were like dragons as he continually hammered down on the black shears, sparks flying, dazzlingly bright, causing the spiritual artifact to tremble frantically, its spiritual light dimming somewhat. Taoist, we do not know where we have offended you. If you have already claimed this place, we can leave. The lead member of the Su family shouted, waves of shock and dread rising in his heart. They hadn't anticipated that not only could Lu Pingan fend off their spiritual artifact with his fists, but he could also dim its spiritual light. This. They couldn't comprehend how such a humanoid fierce beast could appear inside the Purple Shadow secret realm. Who could refine their body cultivation to such a degree when their cultivation level was only at the 8th level of energy refinement. Boom boom boom. Lu Pingan remained silent, continuing to punch out, with the sound of clanging resonating in all directions, echoes upon echoes as rocks and chunks of earth rolled and shattered. Taoist, we are from the beast-taming Su family of Jiang country. Could there be some misunderstanding between us? Another member of the Su family continued to shout out. Although they could guess why Lu Pingan was attacking, they really didn't want to continue the battle against such a body-refining cultivator. After all, entering the secret realm was for the purpose of seeking opportunities. There was no need to fight to the death. If both sides were harmed, neither would gain any benefit. Seeing Lu Pingan remain silent as he threw another punch, shattering the black dragon shears and dimming its light, anger flashed in the eyes of the few Su family cultivators. Taoist, do you really wish for both fish and net to be destroyed? Although your body refining is profound, killing all of us alone will come at a price. The 5 Su family cultivators shouted out loud. They were from the Su family, one of the top forces in Jiang country. 10 people had entered the secret realm, and only at the start had one of them been killed by someone for some unknown reason. The remaining 9 had traveled together, divided into 2 groups, with hardly anyone daring to provoke them. Now, faced with Lu Pingan's challenge, they were naturally filled with anger. Kill? Seeing this, the five realized that it would be difficult to resolve the situation peacefully and thus attacked with all their might, intending to make Lu Pingan pay a price and retreat. They formed a battle formation, controlling the black dragon shears, and simultaneously commanded their spiritual pets to kill Lu Pingan from the flank. One of them also distractedly threw out several talismans, bombarding Lu Pingan. Yet against such an onslaught, Lu Pingan remained fearless, merely turning his head to look at the tiger-like spiritual beast pouncing at him and spinning around to land a punch. His fist thundered like a drum beaten by gods and demons, breaking through the layers of air with a boom, tearing the massive body of the tiger apart, blood spraying everywhere. The talismans and techniques of the other four spiritual beasts fell upon Lu Pingan's body, causing a series of violent explosions, but they did not inflict any substantial damage. The five were horrified to see Lu Pingan's body refinement to be astonishingly resilient without any weaknesses. Not only could his physical strength clash with the black dragon shears, but his body also completely ignored their technique attacks. How could they fight against this? With what could they even fight? Open mountain. Lu Pingan's energy surged powerfully, treasure light flowing around his body, golden radiance entwining his form, dazzling like a layer of golden battle armor. His right arm soared like a dragon snake rising from the ground, roll with momentum, and behind him loomed a magnificent giant axe. The void thundered, and as he punched out, his force exploded, causing endless sounds of air being shattered. The giant axe, following his punch, descended from the sky dome, unleashing an infinitely terrifying fierce power, causing the dimmed black dragon shears to cry out sadly as they were sent flying, crashing directly into the defense formation of the five. Boom boom boom. It was as if the overwhelming force was vast like a prison, causing the defense formation to become dim, cracking densely, with the five inside shaken in chi and blood, pale-faced, spitting out blood. Damn it, damn it, damn it. At this moment, the members of the Su family felt as if they were shrouded in a thick cloud of death, their hearts sinking into despair. Yes, despair. Because in this exchange they no longer knew how to fight. They could not even breach Lu Pingan's defense. Go. The five exchanged glances, ready to use life-saving measures to flee for their lives. Only then might they have a sliver of a chance. In an instant they abandoned their four spiritual pets, charging at Lu Pingan to take the lead and using this method to buy time. Sir, the novel, Ire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 965. Crumbling Beast Taming Su Family Annihilated. _4 Subsequently, the five people activated their life-saving talismans and fled in a flash, soaring into the sky. Boom boom boom. The protective barrier shattered loudly, and the four spiritual beasts couldn't even let out a whine before their bodies exploded, blood splattering across the sky. As the five members of the Su family were about to reach the cliff, they saw a young man in a black robe and a bound crown standing above them. Beside the young man stood a tall metal puppet, wielding a sword in one hand and a shield in the other. Above their heads, a giant hammer, as large as a person and shrouded in purple lightning arcs, exuded a terrifying aura. Boom. The purple giant hammer, faced with the five men, struck directly downwards, engulfing them like a vast ocean of purple lightning. Talisman treasure? The five cultivators, seeing the giant hammer with purple lightning arcs, had their faces drastically change in horror. Unexpectedly, Lu Pingan had an accomplice and in such a situation, even produced a talisman treasure to await them. Why have we, the Su family, offended you? The five men shouted desperately, their expressions hopeless as they tried to counter the talisman treasure's assault. But at that moment Lu Pingan looked at them again and threw another punch. Boom boom boom. Facing such an onslaught, within an instant, the five individuals were blasted into a horrific mist of blood from both sides. Big brother, with this combat power, I suppose no one in the Purple Shadow secret realm could be your match. Lu Chuanjun said somewhat emotionally. He had been supporting Lu Pingan earlier and was surprised to see that the other side didn't use talismans but directly countered the Su family's five members with his physical body alone. He couldn't help but feel that only Foundation establishment cultivators were qualified to confront someone like Lu Pingan who performs body cultivation. Because, for energy refining cultivators, even the best among them couldn't break through the defense nor had any way to do so. Chuanjun, if we kill too many inside this secret realm, I'm afraid it might easily lead to trouble. Moreover, when the secret realm ends, we need to turn in our findings, and if we harvest too much, it could also attract unwanted attention. Lu Pingan said to his younger brother, thinking he intended to loot openly in the secret realm. Initiating an attack on the Su family already had some justifiable reasons. But to rob others of their findings, that was something he wasn't willing or capable of doing. Hee big brother, I understand. Lu Chuanzhen smiled and nodded, knowing well the kind and generous nature of his older brother. Previously, when the two encountered other cultivators on the outskirts, as long as the others didn't attack first, Lu Pingan would definitely not initiate conflict. Sometimes, when he saw an opportunity to attack, he would simply let it go. The two processed the remains of the 5 people and their spiritual beasts, picking up the magic artifacts and storage bags, then returned to the cave to sort through these bags. As Lu Chuanzhen had guessed, the harvesting of the 5 members of the Su family was indeed substantial. Among them were not only several kinds of spiritual medicines that needed to be submitted, but also 3 heavenly spirit fruits. It seems that the Su family, with this kind of family force, must know some coordinates in the Purple Shadow Mountain where rare spiritual herbs are abundant. Lu Chuanzhen speculated based on the earlier situation. Moreover, as a family of clan cultivators like the beast-taming Su family, they certainly had seized other people's spiritual herbs and medicines, thus enabling such substantial findings. Big brother, since we have to submit 50% when we exit, I see here are quite a few spirit medicines effective for the physical body and energy, why don't you take them all to boost yourself? While Lu Chuanzhen and Lu Pingan were sorting the storage bags, Lu Chuanzhen suddenly spoke up. He had originally planned to meet up with Lu Qingshan near the end of their time in the secret realm and give him some spoils to carry out. After all, Lu Qingshan had a nascent soul master. Even if the spoils were generous, nobody would dare say anything. But now, their finding was indeed astonishing, so they might as well use some. Moreover, if we submit too many spirit medicines later, it might also invite trouble, so it's better if you take more, big brother. Lu Chuanzhen continued. In his view, submitting a pile of spirit medicines was genuinely less beneficial than using them to enhance one's cultivation level. Moreover, the family was currently relying on their father and several maternal aunts back at White Tiger Mountain, which lacked Foundation Establishment cultivators. Though he and Lu Qingshan could break through to Foundation Establishment within a few years, Lu Chuanzhen had long planned that once he achieved Foundation Establishment, he would venture out to strive for core formation as soon as possible. With himself away and Lu Qingshan far in Yu country's Jinyang sect, Lu Wangshu would need at least a decade more to grow. That left only his big brother at home. Therefore he felt it was quite important for the other to enhance his strength. Lu Pingan found the idea reasonable. However, seeing so many spiritual medicines, he thought about consuming them directly but felt it would be a waste. After all, each of these spiritual medicines could be worth hundreds of spirit stones if put on the market. Before he could speak, Lu Chuanzhen pulled out a bunch of spirit herbs and medicines from the storage bags and handed them to Lu Pingan, indicating he would eat them too. Hearing this, the brothers began gnawing on spiritual medicines inside the cave. Were anyone to witness this scene, they would surely curse them for their reckless wastefulness. Outside the Purple Shadow secret realm. It seems Pingan has encountered great fortune within the secret realm. Not only has his cultivation level broken through to the 8th level of energy refinement, but his 100 refinements treasure body art has also advanced. Lu Changxing, through system feedback, knew of his son's multiple breakthroughs and was amazed. After all, just a year ago, Lu Pingan had only broken through to the 7th level of energy refinement and the 5th layer of the 100 refinements treasure body art. Now, within only 1 year he had made double breakthroughs. Especially to the 6th layer of the 100 refinements treasure body art. With Lu Pingan's 100 refinements treasure body art breaking through to the 6th layer, his own treasure body technique had also significantly improved. It was almost reaching the peak of the 8th layer. He planned to give Lu Pingan the halberd magic artifact he and Li Feiyu had obtained, once he returned home from the secret realm. After all, as a father, one naturally thinks of their children first when it comes to good things. Giving this damaged magic artifact to his children for cultivation would benefit them both. Effectively a double gain. At this rate, perhaps my body refinement will reach the 3rd rank even faster than my cultivation level. Sar the novel _fire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Changxing thought privately. When he had broken through to Foundation Establishment, his 100 refinements treasure body art had just advanced to the 3rd layer not long before. But now the treasure body technique had overtaken it. Just waiting for Chuanzhen and Qingshan to break through Foundation Establishment. Lu Changxing was hopeful, feeling more and more optimistic about the future. Buzz. Just then, a wave of core formation spiritual pressure suddenly spread through the air, overwhelming and terrifying like mountains, shaking all Foundation establishment cultivators present. They all opened their eyes wide and looked up into the sky, unsure of what was happening. Oh, what's gotten into Patriarch Su to lose composure like this? Could it be that something unfortunate has happened to his descendants inside the secret realm? One of the false core patriarchs from the Shangguan family, one of the three great nascent soul noble families of Jiang country, said with a laugh upon seeing Patriarch Zu's demeanor. Although the three great families were all family forces, their relationship was not very good. There were frequent frictions over interests, making it a clear struggle both openly and covertly. Humph, old ghost Shangguan, this matter does not need your concern. Patriarch Su said coldly, his expression dark as he contained the leaking false core spiritual pressure. His storage bag had contained 5 soul plates, which had all just shattered. This meant that all 10 of the Su family descendants had died within the Purple Shadow secret realm. 300 years ago, their family had allowed their descendants to explore the secret realm, resulting in an accident where only one survived. Afterward they established rules. Upon entering the secret realm, they must band together immediately and must not act alone. Since then their family had not suffered casualties of more than half. But this time, all 10 descendants had died in the secret realm. This incident was not only a loss of the secret realm's harvest for the beast-taming Su family, but it was also a severe blow to the family's reputation and prestige. Is it Qingyun's sect deliberately suppressing my Su family, or is it the Shangguan family, or perhaps the 4 great immortal sects? Patriarch Su speculated in his heart, suspecting some forces were targeting his family. After all, aside from the 4 great immortal sects and a few other major core formation forces, who could completely annihilate his descendants. Just as their family patriarch had previously been heavily injured in a beast tide, his condition was unclear. At this time, other families might be trying to probe their family's stance through this manner, thereby deducing the condition of their patriarch. Who exactly it is, we shall know once the secret realm concludes and we see the situations of the other families, Patriarch Su said calmly, standing on the divine vessel. Now that all his descendants had died in the secret realm, he could very well leave directly. But this matter was not only embarrassing but also concerned probing by other families. If he couldn't discern which family was responsible, it would be difficult to explain upon returning. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 966. Young Master Lu Qingshan from the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. Purple Shadow Secret Realm. Lu Qingshan, we are not as skilled as you, we admit defeat. This white jade Ganoderma is yours. 2 disciples of the Heavenly Sword sect looked at the sharp and upright figure of Lu Qingshan in front of them, spoke solemnly and then left with a bow. The Heavenly Sword sect, interesting. Lu Qingshan watched the 2 departing Heavenly Sword sect disciples, his expression calm and indifferent. Planning to break through to Foundation establishment soon, if he had time he could consider going to the Heavenly Sword sect to challenge them. After all, these 2 were at best above average in the Heavenly Sword sect, not considered top-tier geniuses. But such a spar was somewhat helpful to his sword Dao. It indicated that this sword cultivation sect had many outstanding features. He walked over to the slain dual-headed python, picked the white jade Ganoderma that looked like jade and shimmered with a crystal-like luster, and put it into his spirit plant bag. Although he had seized quite a few heaven and earth spiritual materials along his way, he would not trouble those who were sensible and retreated voluntarily. Like these 2 Heavenly Sword sect disciples, they were easy to talk to. As long as there was a spar and they lost, they would willingly concede the spiritual medicine. Xiao Jin, continue. Lu Qingshan took out a spirit grass and fed it to the golden hamster in his sleeve, speaking out loud. Shichichi. The earth spirit mouse held the spirit grass and nibbled on it, its face full of bliss. Then it looked around, sensing the situation of heaven and earth spiritual materials. At this moment, Lu Qingshan frowned slightly, flipped his hand, and a red glowing yin-yang sensing talisman appeared in his palm. Though he hadn't accompanied Qingzhou Mountain on this trip, he had given a sensing talisman to his grandfather, Lu Yuanding, indicating that if Qingzhou Mountain encountered any danger in the Purple Shadow secret realm, they could seek his help. Half a month since entering the secret realm, this sensing talisman had remained silent. Its activation now signaled a high probability of a life-threatening danger. I want to see who is so blind. Lu Qingshan's eyes narrowed, he stored the Earth Spirit Mouse, and channeled spiritual power into the sensing talisman. Then he looked towards the northwest, lightly tapping his storage bag. The Tianxin Sound bamboo sword, resembling golden bamboo, appeared and softly glided like a swimming dragon. Lu Qingshan lightly tapped his foot and rose on his sword, turning into a sword shadow, shooting towards the direction of the sensing talisman, causing bursts of golden and jade sword sounds to ring through the air. Meanwhile, inside a dense forest, 6 monks of the Jin family were besieging Lu Miaofeng and 2 Lu family disciples. At this moment, the 3 were completely surrounded, unable to escape, and could only rely on talismans to barely hold on, continuously defending, creating a stalemate. Hehe, are you still waiting for rescue? 100 Birds Lake probably doesn't even dare enter Purple Shadow Mountain but just loiter around the periphery, picking up some spiritual medicine. Even if they receive the rescue, they cannot save you. It's a pity no one from Blue Lake Mountain came, otherwise we would definitely make that Lu Changxing taste the pain of losing a son. The 6 monks of the Jin family watched the struggling Lu Miaofeng and others, continuously speaking out. Previously, when Lu Changxing saw the monks from the Jin family come forward, he directly had his son Lu Chuanzhen encounter them and slew them all. The same was true for Golden Dragon Ridge. Due to the matter with White Tiger Mountain, they harbored deep hatred for Blue Lake Mountain, considering them irreconcilable. However, the Jin family cultivator outside the secret realm hadn't seen anyone from Blue Lake Mountain. Search * the novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Thus, they let them encounter Qingzhou Mountain 100 Birds Lake and other families allied with Blue Lake Mountain, and slew them all. After all, families like Qingzhou Mountain 100 Birds Lake sending 3 or 4 late-stage energy refinement cultivators into the Purple Shadow secret realm was already their limit. If they all died in this secret realm, it would be a significant blow, indirectly weakening the strength of Blue Lake Mountain. Lu Miaofeng did not speak. He was naturally aware of the Bai family's situation. Suffering 1 death and 1 injury in the outer area, they hadn't entered the core area. But he had not sought help from the Bai family. Instead, he had sought help from his nephew Lu Qingshan. He wasn't clear about the exact strength of this nephew, having seen only a brief sword strike from him. But just that one strike made him realize there were always higher skies above one acknowledges. Boom boom boom. The orderly offensive of the 6 from the Jin family struck Lu Miaofeng's defensive magic artifact, causing his internal spiritual energy to continuously shake, his complexion turning pale. At this moment, Lu Miaofeng suddenly sensed a response from Lu Qingshan's side, immediately transmitted to his younger relatives. Hold on, Qingshan is already on his way. Qingshan, Lu Qingshan. Upon hearing this, the 2 instantly perked up. They knew their nephew, a cousin of the direct lineage of the immortal sects, a disciple of the nascent soul immortal, had strength far beyond their clan cultivators. Nephew Miaofeng, is it only Lu Qingshan coming? One of the Lu family disciples asked via transmission. He knew that Lu Qingshan was extraordinarily powerful. But it seemed difficult for one person alone to repel 6 from the Jin family. Qingshan's strength is extraordinary, comparable to Foundation establishment. Once he arrives, he will definitely be able to repel the 6 from the Jin family. Lu Miaofeng's voice was resolute, leaving no room for doubt. At this moment he had to instill confidence in them. Besides, he still had 2 second-ranked talismans in his storage bag. As long as Lu Qingshan arrived, he believed the 4 of them would be able to repel the 6 from the Jin family. Comparable to Foundation establishment. Both were shocked upon hearing this. After all, the gap between energy refinement and Foundation establishment was like a chasm. To be comparable to Foundation establishment while only in energy refinement, that was astonishing. Lu Miaofeng, if you are willing to surrender now, kneel and beg for mercy, we might be in a good mood and let you live. Continuing this way, you only have a path to death. Better to give up struggling and we might spare your lives. The few cultivators of the Jin family continued to speak. Their words were not truly expecting Lu Miaofeng to give in and beg. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 967. Young Master Lu Qingshan from the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. It was, after all, a distraction tactic using these words. After all, the mental state of the cultivators during combat was extremely important. Once their minds were disturbed, they were prone to making mistakes. They did not want to expend too much energy fighting Lu Miaofeng and his 2 companions in the Purple Shadow Mountain. Thus, they chose this method to interfere with their mental spirits, seeking an opportunity to find a flaw and end the fight quickly. Boom, boom, boom. As time slowly passed, the faces of Lu Miaofeng and his two companions became paler and paler. One of them even had blood seeping from the corner of his mouth, appearing extremely unsteady. At this rate, the three of them were doomed. But even so, Lu Miaofeng did not give up and chose to escape alone using a talisman. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At that moment, Lu Miaofeng sensed the energy of the yin-yang sensing talisman closing in, and immediately transmitted a message to his juniors. Qingshan will be here soon, get ready. Yes, seventh brother. Uncle Miaofeng, don't worry, I can still hold on. Although the two were pale and weak, their eyes flashed with a fierce determination. Since they had dared to venture into the Purple Shadow secret realm, they were certainly not the type to fear death. Be cautious of their desperate counterattacks in their dying throes. The monk of the Jin family warned cautiously, not giving Lu Miaofeng and his companions any chance to counterattack. Oh. Be careful, someone's coming. Soon, one of the monks of the Jin family sensed an aggressive and piercing aura rushing towards them and loudly alerted the others. However, just as he finished speaking, another cold and compelling voice sounded, seeking death. A young man on a flying sword appeared, his expression cold, holding a golden magical sword. Without even exchanging greetings, he swung his sword at the 5 cultivators. His sword strike was domineering, bursting forth with endless piercing sword light, overwhelming the skies. Who is it? Not good. The monks of the Jin family, faced with the piercing sword light, were startled and hastily activated their talismans, attempting to block it. But the sword light, in an instant, focused into a single point like an antelope hanging its horns on a branch, fiercely drilling towards a monk of the Jin family who was only at the 7th level of energy refinement. With a splat, the sword light penetrated the heart of the monk of the Jin family, his throat gurgled with blood, and he fell with his eyes wide open in death. This display of sword energy formation startled the remaining 5 cultivators from Jinlong Ridge. Qingshan. Lu Miaofeng and his companions immediately looked towards the young sword cultivator with sharp eyebrows and brimming vigor, their expressions filled with surprise. They knew of Lu Qingshan's extraordinary strength, but they hadn't expected him to be this astounding. He had killed a man with a single strike upon arrival. CTH Novel F. Ire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. This increased their chances of victory considerably. Take action. Lu Miaofeng didn't hesitate, made a prompt decision and shouted out, switching from defense to offense with the other two. Why do you seek to be our enemy, sir? If Qingzhou Mountain has offered you any rewards, just withdraw and Jinlong Ridge will double them. The monks of the Jin family's expressions changed drastically, looking ugly. Although they had seen Lu Qingshan being sent here by a nascent soul immortal outside the secret realm, they did not recognize Lu Qingshan, nor were they aware of his relationship with Qingzhou Mountain or why he would suddenly attack them. Thus, they hoped to make him retreat with offers of benefits and by invoking their family's reputation. Jinlong Ridge? Jinlong Ridge Jin family? Lu Qingshan, handsome with distinct features, raised his eyebrows slightly upon hearing their words. He remembered his grandfather mentioning that Jinlong Ridge had a feud with his family. Yes, we are indeed from the Jinlong Ridge Jin family. If you are willing to cease, we will surely reward you handsomely afterward. The monk of the Jin family said immediately, his expression carrying a tinge of proud arrogance. After all, as a false core family even beyond the Qingyun region, they had a certain reputation and influence. So be it, then you all can die. Lu Qingshan scoffed, his demeanor intensely commanding like a blazing sun, holding the magical sword, continuing his onslaught against the 5. Fellow Taoist, do you really intend to make enemies with Jinlong Ridge? Has Jinlong Ridge in any way offended you? The monk of the Jin family twitched in the corner of his eyes, his expression ugly, quickly taking out several talismans from his possession, activating them and yelling. Even though Lu Miaofeng and his companions were gravely injured. In this situation, they really had no confidence to handle both Lu Qingshan and Lu Miaofeng's group. Even if they could manage to kill Lu Miaofeng and his companions, they too would suffer heavy casualties and would not be able to continue exploring the secret realm. Remember, young master's family name is Lu, given name Qingshan from the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. Lu Qingshan stood upright on his flying sword, swinging his golden magical sword that emitted piercing sword lights, his voice cold, knowing my name you can die without regret. As soon as he finished talking, his Tianxin sound bamboo sword also transformed into a sword light, resembling a silver dragon, tearing through the air waves, attacking the five. This flying sword was a reward he had received from the sect's sword testing competition. It was a spiritual artifact flying sword with abilities like breaking techniques, sharpness, and traceless sword shadows. It had never been used routinely, always kept as a trump card. Now, to quickly resolve the battle and ensure all five were slain, he unleashed both swords. What, Lu Qingshan from Blue Lake Mountain? Where is such a person in Blue Lake Mountain? The five were shocked and bewildered upon hearing this. Blue Lake Mountain, although not without its fame, the only renowned figures aside from the mountain lord Lu Changxing were his wives, Dao companions. In terms of children, only Lu Chuanzhen at White Tiger Mountain, family head Lu Yun, and puppet master Lu Xianji had some reputation and were known to the surrounding families. But they absolutely did not recall a sword cultivator named Lu Qingshan associated with a nascent soul immortal. Yet at this moment, the five had no time to ponder further. Boom, boom, boom. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 968. Young Master Lu Qingshan from the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. Chapter 968. Chapter 346. Young Master Lu Qingshan from the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. The Gengjin Law sword was like a blazing sun, fierce and dominant, bursting forth with sharp and overbearing sword qi, striking directly at the defensive aura of the five men. The Tianxin sound bamboo sword was like a silver dragon, stirring up a layer of rolling sword qi that shimmered with golden jade musical waves, its edge sharp and its sword qi inhaling and exhaling, using the characteristic of the flying sword to pierce a hole in the aura and behead a cultivator of the Jin family at the 8th level of energy refinement. Jin Ming. The other four, seeing this, cried out in alarm. They had not expected that, with the five of them in such a state, Lu Qingshan's flying sword could still instantly kill one of them. At this moment they felt a rich sense of crisis. Hiss? Even though Lu Miaofeng had known early on about Lu Qingshan's strength, he was still incredibly shocked at this scene. Lest the cultivators of the Jin family fight back in desperation, he immediately activated a second-rank Thunderfire talisman from his storage bag, turning it into endless thunderous flames and charging at the remaining four men. Boom boom boom. In an instant the situation changed from defense to offense. Originally, 6 people from the Jin family were besieging the 3 members of the Lu Miaofeng party. But now, with Lu Qingshan arriving, they were directly caught in a pincer attack. Ah, damn Blue Lake Mountain. The cultivators of the Jin family roared in anger, filled with regret. They had not at all expected that this young man sent by the nascent soul immortal would actually come from Blue Lake Mountain. If they had known about Lu Qingshan's story earlier, they would have fought with all they had, even at the risk of serious injury, to kill the 3 Lu Miaofeng quickly, not giving Lu Qingshan time to arrive. But there is no medicine for regret in the world. At this time there was no time for them to regret. Boom boom boom. Facing such an overwhelming offensive, the defensive aura of the 4 from the Jin family was struggling to hold and the spiritual light was dimming. Puchi. The Tianxin sound bamboo sword was like a celestial being flying from the sky, its sword light crisscrossing, air currents flying about, finding the gap, and in an instant beheading another person. Ah, am not reconciled. Let's fight them to the death. The remaining 3 Jin family cultivators revealed despair in their eyes, knowing that in such a situation, the 3 of them could not even run away and would only die faster. They immediately looked ferociously at the Lu Miaofeng trio, wanting a fight to the bitter end. Be careful. Seeing this, Lu Miaofeng immediately used the last second-rank defense talisman in his bottom-of-the-box collection. He could see that now, as long as they interfered and maintained the situation, Lu Qingshan would be able to handle everything. Boom boom boom. Lu Qingshan saw the attack of the 3 from the Jin family, sneered coldly, and his hands formed a gesture, his fingers coming together like a sword, pointing forward. One could see the Gengjin Law sword drawing an arc in the sky, radiantly golden, slashing down fiercely. Boom. The 3 had just been fully resisting, managing to hold against Lu Qingshan's flying sword onslaught. But at this moment they were distracted, focusing on attacking, which instantly led to their defense being breached, their spiritual power and blood unstable, and their steps stumbled. Ch. The Gengjin Law sword was like a radiant golden sun, blasting and swallowing boundless sword light, heading straight for the 3 men. The Tianxin sound bamboo sword, like a wandering dragon, coiled around the 3, looking for weak spots and then struck a lethal blow. Such masterful manipulation of the flying sword technique was truly exquisite, something many sword cultivators who had broken through to Foundation establishment could not achieve. Within a few breaths, 2 cultivators of the Jin family died under Lu Qingshan's flying sword. Am not reconciled. The last Jin family cultivator's face was filled with a miserable expression, roaring with resentment and unwillingness. Puchi. With silver sword light crisscrossing, the Tianxin sound bamboo sword like a roaming dragon, pierced through the heart of the last Jin family cultivator. Not reconciled? Being able to die at my hands, Lu Qingshan, is your honor, the only thing worth remembering in your lives. Lu Qingshan's expression was cold and indifferent as he spoke. His palm lightly lifted, and the Tianxin sound bamboo sword returned to his hand like a roaming dragon. Thump. The monk of the Jin family's chest burst open in an instant. He violently spat out a mouthful of blood, died on the spot, and fell to the ground with eyes wide open, unable to close them even in death. Not far away, Lu Miaofeng and his 2 companions were staring dumbfounded at the scene. At this moment they deeply realized the gap between people. Qingshan, we owe you big time for coming just in time. Lu Miaofeng quickly came back to his senses, looked at Lu Qingshan and said. In his eyes he couldn't help but show a bit of awe. After all, Lu Qingshan's strength was so astonishing that they couldn't help but feel respectful. Hee, uncle, you are too kind. Lu Qingshan's face showed a hint of a smile as he spoke. Are you all okay? Although he knew Lu Miaofeng and the others, they weren't very close, not even as close as the playmates of his childhood. We are fine. It's just excessive consumption of spiritual power, some minor injuries, Lu Miaofeng and the others hurriedly said. I have some healing medicine here. Lu Qingshan took out a porcelain bottle from his storage bag and handed it to the 3, saying. The condition of the 3 also affected his following exploration in the secret realm. CTH Nell Fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. So he hoped they would recover soon. Under Lu Qingshan's care, the 3 began to heal and condition themselves. 2 days later, when they had nearly recovered, Lu Miaofeng handed over a rare spiritual medicine they had found to Lu Qingshan. He expressed that if they encountered any accidents in the secret realm, he hoped Lu Qingshan would take the harvest of the spiritual medicine back to Qingzhou Mountain. Because they were well aware that the 3 of them would only delay and impact Lu Qingshan in the secret realm. If they acted together, the benefits they received could not be evenly divided. To avoid personal interests affecting family ties, they indicated that they were fine, and would soon leave Purple Shadow Mountain to mix some spiritual medicines in the outer areas. Upon hearing this, Lu Qingshan did not say much. He gave each of the 3 a second-rank talisman, told them to be careful, and then continued his solo adventure in the secret realm. Whenever he heard fighting nearby, he would go over to take a look and step forward to intervene. Outside the Purple Shadow secret realm. Lu Changxing became alert and opened his eyes. Not far away, an old Foundation establishment cultivator from Golden Dragon Ridge suddenly stood up with a grim and ugly expression on his face, utterly frustrated and furious. If it weren't for the numerous Foundation establishments around and several nascent soul immortals in the sky, he would have wished to vent his anger. Could it be that Xuanzhen and Qingshan encountered the cultivators of the Jin family? Lu Changxing saw this and stroked his chin, a hint of a smile appearing on his face. It was a pity that he was not in his true form. Otherwise, he would have liked to check on the situation with his neighbors. However, it was not necessary for him to worry, as immediately 2 Foundation establishment cultivators approached and inquired about the Jin family cultivator's situation with concern. But this gesture only made the Jin family Foundation establishment's face grow uglier. With a flick of his sleeve, he controlled the spirit boat and soared into the sky. This scene surprised many bystanders. After all, although Golden Dragon Ridge wasn't a top-tier family force, it still belonged to the first tier. This time, they had sent 6 energy refinement late-stage descendants to the Purple Shadow secret realm, and their strengths were not to be underestimated. Now, with the secret realm exploration still ongoing and the Foundation establishment cultivator of the Jin family leaving with a grim face, it indicated that all 6 descendants had perished within the secret realm. This was astonishing indeed. Nevertheless, this was not the first occurrence of its kind, and others were merely surprised and more worried about their own descendants in the secret realm. They hoped that their families would have better luck and not encounter any deadly cultivators from the Spirit Taming sect or the Heavenly Sword sect. Source: Web Novel. Com updated on Novlov. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 969. Demon Tree Seed, your first love has been attacked. Chapter 969. Chapter 347. Demon Tree Seed, your first love has been attacked. Purple Shadow Secret Realm, inside a certain cave. Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjin had been consuming medicinal herbs all these days, stuffing their mouths full of valuable spirit grass, spiritual medicine, and spirit fruits, swallowing them whole and chewing vigorously. Though compared to alchemy, this method of ingesting spiritual medicine directly was quite wasteful. And the medicinal power was overbearing, filling the entire body, making it hard to digest and refine. Yet compared to elixir medicines, this way had a benefit. As long as your body could withstand and consume it, refining it, there wouldn't be any elixir toxicity or side effects. Lu Chuanjin knew his own condition, so he ate very steadily during this process, slowly refining it to solidify his foundation. Lu Pingan was at first reluctant to consume them, feeling quite pained. But as he ate more, he began to feel the effects. On one hand, his brother said they had too many spiritual medicines, and if they didn't eat more, they would have trouble handing them over when required and might have to throw them away. On the other hand, this way of directly consuming spiritual medicines was very suitable for him. Because the 100 Refinements treasure body art was itself a method of cultivation through the use of heavenly and earthly treasures. These treasures were not limited to just metallic spiritual ore. They also included spirit grass, spirit flowers, and spirit fruits as heaven and earth spiritual material. Therefore, for ordinary cultivators, spiritual medicine was more effectively used when refined into elixir medicines with the use of supporting ingredients, as the resultant pills were better for absorption and easier to refine. But for the 100 Refinements treasure body art, it was different. The 100 Refinements treasure body art required the use of raw and overbearing properties, energy, and medicinal effects from heaven and earth spiritual material to forge the physical body. Once spiritual medicine was refined into elixir medicine, while easier to absorb and refine, the raw and overbearing effects of its medicinal properties would have all but faded away. Thus, as Lu Pingan continued to ingest and refine spiritual medicines, with the overbearing medicinal power surging through his limbs and organs, he could clearly feel his physical body continuously improving. He even noticed some mysterious changes in his physical body as his muscles and bones strengthened, his bone density increased and his marrow seethed. There gradually formed a callus-like thin membrane between his skin and bones. Ordinary technique attacks would be absorbed by this thin membrane. This effect was quite astonishing. Lu Pingan felt that his understanding of the 100 Refinements treasure body art was now exceeded. He had to ask his father later for advice to understand what was going on with his 100 Refinements treasure body art. Chuanjin, the secret realm should be ending in about 10 days, let's go out again and take a look, maybe we can still find some gains. Lu Pingan chewed on the spiritual medicine as he spoke. He now felt a surging power throughout his body, endless force that he wanted to release in a few exhilarating fights. Okay. Lu Chuanjin heard this and looked towards his elder brother, nodding his head. Then he packed up the formation, and the two of them left the cave mansion to continue searching for spiritual medicine. Perhaps because they had stayed in the cave for more than 10 days, the number of demon beasts nearby had decreased due to their previous hunting, causing them to encounter them less frequently. The two thus headed directly towards the summit of Purple Shadow Mountain. Generally, the closer to the center, the more and the rarer the spiritual medicines would be. Naturally, demon beasts would also be more formidable. However, even if a second-order monster beast appeared, it was unlikely to pose a threat to them now. In the billowing mist, occasionally a demon beast would emerge, but they were mostly killed by a few punches from Lu Pingan. Like this, 3 days passed. Boom. Through battle, Lu Pingan had nearly fully digested the accumulated spiritual medicines in his body, and his cultivation level had directly broken through to the 9th level energy refinement. Although not all the spiritual medicines he consumed could increase his cultivation level, most of them had that effect. So even without deliberate cultivation, as the spiritual medicines were digested and built up, his cultivation level naturally broke through at this moment. Congratulations, elder brother, on breaking through to the 9th level energy refinement. Lu Chuanjin saw this and smiled, congratulating him. It's all stacked up with spiritual medicines. Lu Pingan showed a bittersweet smile. If others knew he had consumed spiritual medicines worth tens of thousands, only to improve this much, they would certainly scold him for wastage. The heavenly and earthly treasures belong to those with virtue. It does not matter if they're stacked with spiritual medicines. But elder brother, when you return home, you need to refine your spiritual power a lot to solidify your foundation. Wait until there is no further progress in the foundation of your spiritual power, and then prepare for foundation establishment. Sir, the novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Chuanjin said to Lu Pingan. Previously, Uncle Chu Changa had come and spoken to him about various cultivation knowledge. One of the things he mentioned was that the foundation was of utmost importance. If you didn't lay a solid foundation in the early stages, you would later need to spend tens or even hundreds of times more to make up for it. Such as the Tao foundation in the foundation establishment stage, the golden core in the core formation stage, and the nascent soul in the nascent soul stage. Right, I know. Lu Pingan nodded. Although he was far ahead in terms of body refinement, he knew that the foundation of cultivation was the true path, determining how far he could go in the future. There are still many top-tier techniques at home. Elder brother should try a few. Maybe there's one more suitable for you than the purple true solar scripture. Lu Chuanjin continued. His own previous cultivation method had also been the purple true solar scripture. Before, the purple true solar scripture, being an exquisite level cultivation method, was indeed not bad. But from his current perspective, it seemed somewhat lacking. When it came to foundation establishment and core formation, this method would severely hold Lu Pingan back. Right, okay, I'll ask father. Lu Pingan felt a warmth in his heart and nodded with a smile. Initially, he practiced the purple true solar scripture because the results of his sword technique were unsatisfactory, so he picked up this cultivation method. Now, hearing what Lu Chuanjin had said, he planned to ask his father for advice about the 100 Refinements treasure body art, and also to see if he had any suggestions. Amid their conversation, Lu Pingan plucked the nearby spiritual medicine, casually bled and dissected the demon beast's body, placed the valuable materials into his storage bag, and continued towards the mountain summit. Source: Web Novel. Com updated on Novlov. Com if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 970, Demon Tree Seed, Your First Love Has Been Attacked. Chapter 970, Chapter 347. Demon Tree Seed, Your First Love Has Been Attacked. One day later, the two were about to reach the summit, when they saw a cave ahead. Such caves usually contain rare heavenly and earthly treasures. Of course, they also tend to harbor danger, often occupied by fierce demon beasts. Chuanjin, stay behind me and be careful, Lu Pingan called out to his younger brother before striding towards the cave. Lu Chuanjin nodded, not intending to overreach. This was how the two had traveled thus far. After they entered the cave, they hadn't walked far before they heard intense fighting noises coming from ahead. Someone's already here. Lu Pingan, hearing the commotion, shook his head and gestured for Lu Chuanjin to leave. Big brother, the sounds seem a bit off, Lu Chuanjin commented, his expression growing tense. It seems like a massive brawl, very intense, Lu Pingan remarked after listening carefully. He felt that at least 10 or more people were fighting, not just a skirmish between 2 or 3. With so much activity, it must be something out of the ordinary, probably a collective action by an immortal sect here, Lu Chuanjin said, his eyes narrowing. He had observed the area outside the secret realm briefly before. Apart from the 4 great immortal sects bringing 20 to 30 disciples each, the others had at most 10 people. So the battle at hand was definitely a collective combat of an immortal sect. Since we're here, might as well see what's going on, it won't affect us. Besides, if the Purple Shadow secret realm opens again in the future, we could record the details and report back to the family, Lu Chuanjin said. His eyes narrowed at the sound of the fierce battle, suggesting this plan. Hearing this, Lu Pingan helplessly nodded in agreement. Is this a demon tree? The two reached the end of the cave and immediately saw a basin ahead. This basin was very peculiar, surrounded on all sides by jagged rocks. And in the center of the basin stood a purple giant tree almost 10 to 12 meters thick. The tree was covered in cracks, exuding a vast and ancient aura, like a colossal pillar supporting the heavens, connecting the earth and sky, standing more than 30 meters tall. The huge canopy, similar in color to the mist of the Purple Shadow secret realm, was hazy and obscured the sky, making it difficult to discern clearly. At this moment, 8 disciples from the Heavenly Sword sect dressed in sword cultivator attire were fighting fiercely with this demon tree. The ground was ravaged by thick tree roots, like earth dragons, constantly attacking these sword cultivators. Besides that, there were all kinds of bizarre-looking demon beasts. These beasts didn't seem alive but appeared to be controlled by the demon tree, with plant roots bursting out of their bodies as they fearlessly attacked the Heavenly Sword sect disciples, creating a very intense battle scene. So this is what happens when a tree turns into a demon. Both Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjin were greatly shocked upon seeing the demon tree. It was not only their first time seeing a plant become a demon, but also their first time seeing such an enormous piece of wood, a tree demon, making them feel very insignificant. However, as shocking as the scene was, they could see that this type of tree demon, compared to other demon beasts, had a clearly fatal weakness. Unable to move and fearful of fire, it could only wait for its demise. Even though the plant demon was very powerful, possessing second-rank strength, it had no choice but to face a dead end against the combined assault of the Heavenly Sword sect cultivators with their flames ablaze. A second-rank plant demon. To become a demon, this tree must be no ordinary one. It must be of the heaven and earth spiritual plant grade. Lu Chuanjin said thoughtfully, looking at the massive tree demon in the basin. He had previously heard from his mother about the heavenly longevity technique. He knew that under his father's arrangement, his mother had already started cultivating this technique. But he wanted to procure a third-rank heaven and earth spiritual plant as a future safeguard for his sister, Lu Caijin. Because unlike himself, his sister wasn't that interested in cultivation on a regular basis. Even after consuming a heaven-replenishing elixir and advancing her spiritual route to 5th grade, she only put in effort for a while before sliding back into laxity and playfulness. As a brother, although he wanted to say something, he understood that his sister's temperament really wasn't suited for the cultivation world. Even with diligent cultivation, her prospects would be limited. So he thought of preparing a heaven and earth spiritual plant for her as a fallback for the future. Seeing the tree demon now, he couldn't help but be tempted. CTH Novel Fire. Net * website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. But realizing the sheer size of the tree demon, Lu Chuanjin knew it would be impossible to take it away. He continued to look for seedlings around the tree demon, hoping to find one. But despite looking all around, he saw no seedlings. Ha! Lu Chuanjin exhaled lightly, ready to turn and leave. But then he noticed his elder brother staring at a Heavenly Sword sect female cultivator with slender eyes and crimson lips, a clear face, a high ponytail and an air of vibrant heroism. Lu Chuanjin naturally remembered her. She was his elder brother Lu Pingan's first love. Although the female cultivator had considerable strength, with a 9th level energy refinement cultivation level, she seemed somewhat hard-pressed under the assault of the tree demon's roots and a demon beast. Big brother, why not play the hero to save the beauty? Lu Chuanjin teased. The tree demon is already showing signs of defeat. Lu Pingan shook his head and said in a low voice. With the current situation, it wouldn't make a difference whether he went to help or not. Besides, stepping forward to help without reason might seem hard to explain. Just then, Lu Chuanjin suddenly noticed a Heavenly Sword sect disciple, having slain a demon beast and cremated it with fire. A purple, crystal-like seed flew from the ashes into the hands of the disciple. What's this? The seed of the tree demon? His eyes narrowing in thought. He whispered to Lu Pingan, Big brother, did you see the seed that appeared after the beast was burned to ashes? Source, web novel. Com updated on Novlov. Com if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 971. Demon Tree Seed, your first love has been attacked. Chapter 971. Chapter 347. Demon Tree Seed, your first love has been attacked. Seed, are you talking about that purple, crystalline object? Lu Pingan said in astonishment. I suspect that it's the seed of a tree demon. Father has a cultivation technique named the Heavenly Longevity Technique, which can refine a heaven and earth spirit plant into a life-bound spiritual root. Lu Quanzhen's eyes narrowed slightly as he spoke softly. Chuanjin, you mean? Lu Pingan immediately understood what his brother meant. Upon hearing the effects of the Heavenly Longevity Technique, he too felt a surge of astonishment and thought the cultivation technique was quite miraculous. Whether it's the tree demon's seed or not, I think we should grab a few and take a look. Didn't Father instruct us before, that if we come across any rare spiritual medicines or heaven and earth spirit plants, we should bring them back? If that purple seed really is the tree demon's seed, it would definitely be a huge gain. Lu Chuanjin said lowly, looking at the situation ahead. All right. Lu Pingan looked at the several bizarre demon beasts fighting ahead, preparing to make a move. With his current combat prowess, seizing a few demon beasts from the fray would not be difficult. But perhaps because his first love was on the battlefield, he felt somewhat embarrassed to make a move and reluctant to raise his hand. Sha sha sha. The purple demon tree suddenly shook, its canopy rustling loudly and mist swirling. Numerous purple leaves fluttered down, slashing towards the people of the Heavenly Sword sect. Shio shio shio. The leaves whirled chaotically, brimming with intent to kill. The trunk of the tree demon had already been completely set ablaze, and at this moment, it appeared to be in its death throes. Facing the flurry of purple leaves, Qin-Yi moved her flying sword, creating a net of sword chi. But her demon beast opponent's body suddenly exploded, countless tendrils appearing and whipping towards her, sending her flying with coughed blood from her mouth. Big brother, stop hesitating. Lu Chuanjun called out, urging him to stop being indecisive. Your first love is getting beaten up. Upon hearing his brother's urging, Lu Pingan hesitated no longer. His footing spurred him forward, his entire being like a streak of golden light, bursting forth and appearing in front of Qin-Yi in an instant. Following that, his blood surged and he raised his right arm and delivered a powerful punch onto the bizarre demon beast, completely exploding its body. Eh? Who is this man? This scene left Qin-Yi and several other disciples from the Heavenly Sword sect shocked. They had taken notice of Lu Pingan and Lu Chuanjun earlier. But in such a situation they couldn't spare the attention to care for others. Moreover, they were confident that these two couldn't interfere with them. But now, seeing Lu Pingan punch a demon beast to death, they couldn't help but be dumbfounded. They secretly thought, where did this loose cultivator come from, with such astonishing fighting strength? I'm only interested in the seeds within the body of these demon beasts and won't vie for your other spoils. Lu Pingan said to everyone. As he spoke, he seemed to feel that it wasn't quite right and worried they wouldn't believe him, so he continued, as a reward I can help you deal with this tree demon. Thank you. Sar the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. At that moment, Qin-Yi got up from the ground, wiping the fresh blood from her lips, and expressed her gratitude to Lu Pingan. It's no trouble at all, no need to thank me, Lu Pingan said somewhat awkwardly. He then searched the crushed body of the demon beast in front of him and found an oval seed about the size of a thumb, emanating a purple, crystalline luster. He pocketed the seed and once again took a step, his entire body shooting out like a cannonball and striking another demon beast, his punch shattering its body into pieces, astonishing the sword cultivators on the field. It was known that sword cultivators were famous for their attacking prowess, claiming to be second to none in terms of aggression. Yet the demon beasts they had been struggling to slay were now effortlessly pulverized by Lu Pingan's mere punch. After annihilating several demon beasts, Lu Pingan directly launched himself towards the tree demon. Boom boom boom. Punches like the drums of gods and demons pounded against the demon tree, thundering loudly and causing wood chips to explode. Facing such an onslaught, the demon tree swayed rustlingly, the ground trembled, and thick root tendrils like that of an earth dragon appeared, whipping through the air and smashing towards Lu Pingan. Yet, Lu Pingan, faced with this aggressive attack, neither dodged nor evaded, meeting it head-on, swinging his fists, causing those roots to burst apart. The already crumbling demon tree soon fell silent under Lu Pingan's assault. Adjacent to the action, Qin-Yi, with her expression cold, watched Lu Pingan's silhouette. The more she watched his way of fighting, the more familiar it seemed. Frowning, she felt an increasing sense of familiarity. She once knew someone who fought just like this. Moreover, the movements, gestures, and silhouettes of the two shared seemed remarkably alike. Many thanks to this Taoist for the assistance. At that moment, a cultivator from the Heavenly Sword sect bowed in thanks towards Lu Pingan. Although the disciples of the immortal sects were arrogant and looked down on loose cultivators, the main reason was still strength. Someone like Lu Pingan, who could explode demon beasts with a punch and burst demon trees with his fists, did not fall into the category they disdained. In fact, some semblance of respect could be seen in their eyes when they looked towards Lu Pingan. Everyone's too kind. Lu Pingan bowed in return. We have yet to ask for your name, Taoist, and where you come from? A Heavenly Sword sect disciple curiously inquired, wanting to know Lu Pingan's identity and origin. And Ping, just a loose cultivator. Lu Pingan reported the alias he was using for this trip. Hearing the name, Qin-Yi slightly furrowed her brows, her expression turning somewhat peculiar as she looked towards Lu Pingan. That's because the name bore a resemblance to that of an old acquaintance of hers. She stepped forward towards Lu Pingan to express her gratitude again. Thank you for your assistance just now. The lady is too polite, Lu Pingan said with a smile. Noticing her poor complexion, he took out a bottle of healing pills from his storage bag and handed it to her. I have some healing pills here. Lady? Qin Yi, upon hearing Lu Pinggan's address and this gesture, didn't reach out to take the pills but instead looked at him with a furrowed brow, saying, I feel like you're somewhat familiar. Have we met before? Lu Pinggan's heart skipped a beat, not expecting Qin Yi to be so perceptive. He immediately explained that he had been cultivating in the mountains all along, fighting with demon beasts day in and day out, and seldom went out. It's just a feeling that you seem familiar, as if I've seen you before. Qin Yi continued to look directly at Lu Pinggan as if trying to discern something from his face. I see. Lu Pinggan was slightly taken aback, then smiled and nodded his head, bowing to everyone present. Since the matter is resolved, I bid you all farewell. Lu Pinggan. Qin Yi, witnessing Lu Pinggan's Jianghu-like demeanor and actions, felt an increasing sense of recognition and directly called out loud. The nearby Heavenly Sword sect cultivators were taken aback by this, as if recognizing something different in the situation. Lu Pinggan, feeling as if he had been struck by heavenly thunder, stiffened. Then he turned back and said, My name is Ping, the lady must have mistaken me for someone else. Upon hearing this, Qin Yi's eyebrows raised, her eyes clear and incisive. She looked at Lu Pinggan's retreating back and said directly, Whether you're Lu Pinggan or not, if you happen to meet him, you can tell him that Qin Yi has joined the Heavenly Sword sect and he can write to her if there's anything. Although Lu Pinggan had no spiritual root and was unable to cultivate, her instincts told her that this person was Lu Pinggan. Lu Pinggan sighed inwardly upon hearing this, not sure of how to respond. But with the thought of his own spiritual root or the lack thereof, he eventually stepped forward, leapt up and returned to Lu Quanzhen's side at the cave entrance, whispering softly, Let's go. Source, web novel. Com updated on Novlov. Com if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 972. The Secret Realm Ends, Come to the Heavenly Sword Sect within 10 years. Chapter 972, Chapter 348. The Secret Realm Ends, Come to the Heavenly Sword Sect within 10 years. Big brother, it appears that Miss Qin has always remembered you. Lu Chuanzhen and Lu Pinggan walked out of the cave and he spoke up. Although he hadn't come forward just now, he had overheard their conversation. He knew that the woman named Qin Yi had recognized his elder brother. Although his brother's disguise techniques were only average, making it easy for flaws to be spotted, the fact that they hadn't seen each other for many years and she could still recognize him immediately under these circumstances meant the memory was deep and the affection extraordinary. Lu Pinggan nodded. He naturally knew he had been recognized. He guessed it was probably his fighting style, the way he addressed the lady, and the act of giving her elixir medicines that felt familiar to her and made her spot the flaws, thus prompting her to speak out and test him. Then came the moment she called out his name, and his mental spirit faltered, effectively an indirect admission. Sigh. Thinking about these things, Lu Pinggan sighed deeply, feeling he had been far too careless and his state of mind was still lacking. Since that's the case, why didn't Big Brother admit it? Lu Chuanzhen said so. Lu Pinggan shook his head but didn't reply. Is Big Brother worried he might bring trouble to our family? Lu Chuanzhen narrowed his eyes and continued. Although Lu Pinggan had attained such prowess only after over 10 years of cultivation, which was astonishing and could potentially bring trouble to Bai Lake Mountain, he felt the reason was not so simple. Didn't father say sometimes we ought to be bold? And this Miss Qin probably doesn't know about our family situation, right? Lu Chuanzhen said so. Forget it, Chuanzhen. Lu Pinggan patted his hand, signaling him to stop. I'm sorry, Big Brother. Lu Chuanzhen nodded, understanding that his elder brother might have other serious matters difficult to discuss, which made it inappropriate to recognize each other. The reasons are something father probably understands. Lu Chuanzhen narrowed his eyes, thinking of the words outside the secret realm where their father had encouraged Lu Pinggan to boldly pursue, as if he had anticipated all this. He didn't think much about this aspect and planned to discuss it later with their father. After all, having spent time with Lu Pinggan these days, he had grown to appreciate his responsible and committed big brother. He didn't want his brother to harbor any regrets in his long life. Lu Pinggan and Lu Chuanzhen continued to search Purple Shadow Mountain for heaven and earth spiritual materials. It might have been that many people had already visited the summit at this time and the more conspicuous spiritual medicines had been picked, so they didn't harvest much. Thus, as their time in the secret realm neared its end, Lu Chuanzhen took out the family token from the storage bag, infused it with spiritual power, and sent a message to Lu Qingshan, preparing to rendezvous and hand over the spiritual medicines. After a moment, the token responded, and the two tokens formed an invisible force, resonating from a distance. "Let's go, big brother, to meet with Qingshan," Lu Chuanzhen said to his elder brother. "All right." Lu Pingan nodded in response, very curious about this sibling he had never met. After all, he had asked Lu Chuanzhen several times whether they should meet with Lu Qingshan. But Lu Chuanzhen had said that this brother, despite seeming easygoing, was actually quite proud. The purpose of this trip to Purple Shadow's secret realm was for self-improvement. Together they might hinder and delay each other's progress. So Lu Pingan had not contacted him until now. Using the tokens, they spent about a day before they saw Lu Qingshan, who had starry brows and a grand demeanor, dressed in a Jinyang sect magical robe, and holding a golden magical sword. 17th brother? Lu Qingshan looked toward Lu Chuanzhen, raising his brows as he greeted him. Then his eyes shifted toward Lu Pingan, wanting to know who he was. As a sword cultivator and due to his mastery of sword heart clarity from training in sword-charging bull's might, his insight was sharply honed. He could faintly sense that Lu Pingan embodied a fierce beast-like physique. Just standing in front of him felt like facing a brewing volcano, ready to erupt at any moment, giving him an inexplicable sense of danger. "Qingshan." Lu Chuanzhen nodded and greeted, his hand gently brushing his face, removing the disguise. Then pointing to Lu Pingan beside him, he smiled and said, "This is our big brother, Lu Pingan, whom you've not met since you've been away. See ya the novel _ at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Qingshan hello." Lu Pingan also removed his disguise and smiled as he introduced himself. Then he sized up Lu Qingshan before him. He had glimpsed this younger brother from a distance outside the secret realm before. But now, in close proximity, seeing the sharp and unparalleled spirit of Lu Qingshan was still a bit surprising. Because previously, among the disciples of the Heavenly Sword sect, he had not sensed such a fierce and soaring sword chi. This sword chi, seemingly emanating from his very bones, made him understand what a true sword cultivar was. His brother, it seems, would be recognized as an extraordinary sword cultivator wherever he went. Big brother Lu Pingan? Although Lu Qingshan had never met Lu Pingan, he still knew of this elder brother. He hadn't expected that the person before him who gave him a sense of danger was actually his own big brother. Wasn't his big brother without a spiritual root, sent away in the mundane world since young? Lu Qingshan didn't think further and looked at the Lu Pingan before him, his lips curving up slightly into a smile. He bowed and said, "Big brother, nice to finally meet." After briefly catching up, Lu Chuanzhen took out a prepared spirit plant bag saying, "Qingshan, as the secret realm is about to end, I'm going to take this batch of spiritual medicines and give them to you to take out. Otherwise, big brother and I going out might draw attention and cause trouble." Lu Chuanzhen spoke thus. This matter had already been discussed at home between the two. Source: web novel. Com updated on Novlove.com. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible.